The Beginning of Douluo with a pan. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1 Reborn Douluo Continent. Good luck. Let's see tonight. In front of the computer, Tang Lin took one last look at the screen and then fell down on the keyboard with a plot point. The next day, a certain daily internet addicted boy XXX ate chicken all night long and died suddenly at XXX internet cafe last night. It is recommended that teenagers arrange their work and rest time reasonably. Staying up late is harmful to the body, so it is recommended to go to bed early. The teenager was addicted to games and could not extricate himself. He died suddenly in the internet cafe. I hope everyone will take this as an example. Douluo Continent Xiandao Empire. When Tang Lin opened his eyes again, he came to this magical place. It took him a long time to figure out that he had been reborn through time travel. Fortunately, this is Douluo Continent. In his previous life, he had read the original work and was fairly familiar with this world. This is a world belonging to martial arts. There is no fighting spirit, no magic, no martial arts here, only magical martial arts. Everyone here can awaken their own martial soul when they are 6 years old. The martial soul has animals, such as the powerful diamond bear, the ghost civet cat, the white tiger, etc. There are plants, such as blue silver grass and horsetail flower. There are also utensils, such as sickles, hammers, hoes, etc. Martial spirits can assist people in their normal lives, but only a handful of people can rely on their own martial arts to practice and become the most noble person or profession in the world. A Soul Master in Douluo Continent. There are 10 title levels for Soul Masters: Soul Master, Soul Master, Great Soul Master, Soul Lord, Soul Sect, Soul King, Soul Emperor, Soul Saint, Soul Douluo, and titled Douluo. To the south of the Xiandao Empire is Fasno Province. Notting City. Tang Lin was in his room at the moment, holding his young face with his 2 little hands, sitting lazily in front of a sandalwood desk. Looking out the window at the crowded Wuhan Hall in the distance. Today is the day of the Wuhan Hall's annual Wuhan Awakening ceremony. Many people in Notting City brought their children to the Wuhan Hall to awaken the Wuhan or watch the excitement, making the front of the Wuhan Hall crowded with people. I don't know what kind of martial spirit I will awaken in a month. Tang Lin will only turn 6 years old in a month. Seeing this scene in the distance, he began to daydream about what kind of martial spirit he would awaken in the near future. Wuhan. It has been almost 6 years since he was reborn in this Douluo Continent. Speaking of which, the way he traveled through time was also very normal, as he suddenly died on the keyboard in an internet cafe all night long. He notes that these are basic operations. It can't be compared to Tang San's jumping off a cliff to express his will. But since God gave him another chance to be reborn, he felt that he should cherish it and not waste his time like he did in his previous life. So he got up early and stayed up late every day to exercise his physical fitness. He had already begun to learn from comrade Tang San before Tang San was born. Training such as long distance running and sprinting, push-ups, and weight-bearing squats are done every day. Tang San was practicing. He was really just exercising. Although everyone was a time traveler, Tang San was the protagonist of this world after all, so he didn't bother to compare with others. He was already very content to be reborn in the Douluo Continent that he liked and have a happy family. Squeak. At this time, he was still staring into the distance in a daze, completely unaware that the small wooden door of the room was gently pushed open by a small hand. A little girl with 2 pigtails slowly revealed half of her head from the crack in the door. His bright eyes were spinning around, quietly peering inside. Seeing that Tang Lin was not sleeping, but sitting on the desk by the window, her eyes suddenly lit up. She stopped sneaking, opened the door, and ran in with her calves. "Jej, I'm hungry." She came to Tang Lin and said timidly, as if she was afraid of disturbing Tang Lin, with a slightly aggrieved look on her face. After all, at this time of the week, we had already had lunch, but today we haven't eaten yet, and our stomach is growling with hunger. How can we not feel aggrieved? Tang Lin suddenly heard his sister's voice ringing in his ears, and he suddenly realized. I patted myself on the head, secretly complaining. I actually forgot to cook. When I turned around, I saw a chubby little face in front of me. The big black eyes were looking at me pitifully, with a trace of tears in my eyes. I felt like I was going to die in the next moment. He would cry, and looked like he had been wronged. Tang Lin suddenly felt twice as guilty. Jej, Xiaomi is hungry. When the little girl saw Tang Lin turning around to look at her, she went over and grabbed the corner of Tang Lin's clothes and said softly. The slight frown on that little face made Tang Lin's heart melt. This was the family's big treasure, the source of happiness, and his most beloved sister, Tang Xiaomi. He stretched out his hand and pinched her little fat face and comforted her with a doting look on his face. Xiaomi, be good. Can you cook for me now? Okay, Jej will cook for Xiaomi. Tang Xiaomi immediately nod and smile happily. Tang Lin suddenly smiled helplessly. The little girl's face changed so quickly. One moment she looked like she was about to cry, and the next moment she started to feel happy. Pulling Tang Xiaomi, she walked to the kitchen downstairs. Dad went out a month ago and didn't know where to go or what to do, and he hasn't come back yet. Dad often does this, and he has become accustomed to the days when his father is not at home. And his mother went to the Holy Soul Village to discuss business today. Yes, it was the Holy Soul Village where Tangson was born. He had been there with his mother before and met Tangson and Tang Heo, but they didn't live well. Tang Heo drank all day long and only cooked a meal for Tangson when he remembered. He usually relied on the help of the village elder Jack. Tangson was about 4 years younger than Tang Lin, so Tang Lin recognized him as a younger brother without any ceremony. After all, this is the Poseidon's thigh that needs to be hugged in the future. What's more, he still covets Tang San's skills. But this kind of thing has to be done slowly, otherwise it will be counterproductive, and he won't even be friends by then. So now he and his sister Xiaomi are left at home, and they have to cook lunch for them. My sister eats it. As a result, I accidentally forgot. This wasn't Tang Lin's first time cooking. He usually cooked for his parents, so it wasn't difficult at all. He stepped on a small stool, rolled up his sleeves, and started cooking. Tang Xiaomi, on the other hand, sat obediently on the threshold of the kitchen door, holding her rosy face in her hands, and waiting quietly for Tang Lin. Mom prepared their favorite chicken for them today. He only needs to cook it himself and eat it. It's very simple. Not long after, the fragrant meal was brought to the table by Tang Lin, with 2 dishes and 1 chicken soup. It was extremely rich. Tang Xiaomi was very happy at the moment. He stared at the food on the table above his head and chewed his meaty little mouth. Tang Lin's face was covered with sweat, but he looked happy. How could this naughty sister sit still for such a long time? With her little body of less than 2 years old, she would run around with the little black dog at home every day, as if she was tired. She was very lively. If I can sit here obediently today, I'm probably too hungry to have the energy to play. Tang Lin tried his best to lift the little fat girl onto the wooden chair, and then placed a small bowl full of rice and a small spoon on the dining table in front of her. He poured some more soup for her, and put vegetables and other things into another bowl for her. She was not polite at all. She just held the bowl and started eating. This sister is not easy to raise. She is a little more than 4 years younger than him, and she actually eats about the same as him at every meal. No wonder he is so chubby. Jej, that dish is delicious. Xiaomi wants that one. There were still a few grains of rice stuck to the corners of little Lali's mouth. She pointed her short fat hand into the pot with a small spoon and said with a smile to Tang Lin, "Finish the food in the bowl first." Tang Lin immediately rolled his eyes at her. He hadn't finished eating the chicken in the bowl yet, but he actually thought about the food in the pot. Although he loved her very much, he had to have a certain limit, but you can't always spoil her. You must educate her well from an early age. Tang Xiaomi was not afraid of anything, but sometimes she was a little afraid of her brother Tang Lin. So she listened to Tang Lin's words and obediently lowered her head and started eating from the small bowl. As he was eating, a mechanical and cold voice suddenly appeared in Tang Lin's mind. Ding, time traveler, congratulations on your success in eating 100 chickens and chicken butts. You finally meet the system activation conditions. Congratulations on getting the super invincible lick in the universe. Box cultivation system. PS. Noobers and new books. Please collect them, and please vote for recommendations. Chapter 2 Licking Box System. The current system level can scan all boxes within a 5-meter radius of the host, and there is no limit on the number of times it can be used. It's been almost 6 years since I came to this world. System, my dearest golden finger, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Hearing the voice in his head, Tang Lin suddenly had the urge to cry. Although the voice sounded cold and mechanical, at this moment, in this situation, he felt particularly kind. Before I even had time to swallow the chicken, but in my mouth, my eyes filled with tears. Although Goldfinger will be late, he will never be absent. Tang Lin, the master of internet writing, did not deceive me. He started sobbing unknowingly. Tang Xiaomi, who was next to him, raised his head and looked at Tang Lin with confusion. Seeing her brother burst into tears and sobbing, she suddenly felt the urge to cry. Although she didn't know why. However, she still asked weakly, Jej, what's wrong with you? Is it because the chicken doesn't taste good? Tang Lin came to his senses and almost forgot that Tang Xiaomi was still watching. Glancing at the sister whose mouth was stained with rice soup, he shook his head slightly and sighed in his heart. The brain circuit of a foodie is indeed different. Xiaomi is good, eat quickly. Tang Lin quickly wiped his tears and rubbed them. Her head smiled and said, her sister's silly look is really cute. Seeing Tang Lin smiling, Tang Xiaomi no longer had the urge to cry. Then he buried his head and continued to eat. As he ate, he uttered the word smellful, which made Tang Lin helplessly laugh again. System, are there any boxes within a 5-meter radius? Tang Lin took a deep breath, forced himself to calm down, and quickly asked silently in his mind. Ding, the system started scanning. Ding, the scan was successful. There are no boxes within a radius of 5 meters. The system responded mechanically. Tang Lin was not disappointed. Instead, he slapped his head and blamed himself for being too excited. How could there be a box on the dining table at home to put down the dishes? He quickly came to the kitchen and looked at the chicken feather still on the ground. The corner of Tang Lin's mouth showed smile. This is the place where my mother killed the chickens in the morning. The chicken heads are still thrown here. There should be a box now. Hehe. System, are there any boxes within a radius of 5 meters? Tang Lin asked loudly in his heart with his hands on his hips and very confidently. Ding, there is no box within a radius of 5 meters. Tang Lin's smile suddenly froze. How is it possible that this system is not fake? It is also the universe's super invincible licking box training system. Didn't you see the chicken feathers in that place? This chicken clearly died here. Why can't even a box be scanned? I want you. What is the use of this system? System, are you sure you don't have it? Tang Lin was unwilling to give in and asked again with a glimmer of hope in his heart. The system will not make mistakes. The system's voice in his mind responded coldly, extinguishing the last glimmer of hope in his heart without any emotion. Tang Lin's face started to look a little ugly. Could it be that the chicken was too weak, or that the chicken had been eaten by him and his sister? Or maybe it was because the chicken had been dead for too long, so the box disappeared. Tang Lin thought of many kinds of things in an instant. Maybe, especially the last one. The more I think about it, the more I think it should be like this. Tang Lin's family can be considered a wealthy family. His father is doing business outside, and his mother also owns a medium-sized pub in Notting City, which is right next to the house. Although this location is near the city gate of Notting City, there are roads extending in all directions outside the city gate, and there are many merchants coming and going, so the business is no worse than the pubs in the city. He decided to take a look at the kitchen of the tavern. Large animals such as goats and black cattle were often killed there, not to mention chickens, ducks, and fish. Some of them might even be killing millet. Eat slowly, brother is out. Be back soon. He didn't forget to tell Tang Xiaomi before going out. Yeah, Tang Xiaomi didn't care so much and responded directly without even looking at him. She is now only interested in the delicious food on the table. After Tang Lin came to the back kitchen of the tavern, he saw the uncles in charge of repairs repairing a big fat pig. The ground was stained with blood. It looked like it had just been killed. System, are there any boxes within a radius of 5 meters? He immediately asked. Ask the system expectantly. Ding, the system starts scanning. As expected, after the system started scanning, he could immediately see the pool of blood on the ground. In an instant, several large and small boxes emitting faint green light appeared. He swore that this was the first time in his previous life. Once he liked the green light so much, but the uncles next to him didn't seem to see it. He instantly understood that he should be the only one to see this box. Ding, there are 3 boxes 2 meters directly in front of the host. 4 o'clock on the left front there are 2 boxes 5 meters away. 5 boxes suddenly appeared, which made him extremely happy. Excuse me, host, do you want to start licking the box? The system voice continued. Lick, damn it, what the hell are you asking nonsense? Ding, licking the box is successful. Congratulations to the host for getting 2 points of box energy. Ding, licking the box is successful. Congratulations to the host for getting 1 point of box energy. Ding, licking the box is successful. Congratulations to the host for gaining 1 point of box energy. Ding, the box licking is successful. Congratulations to the host for gaining 1 point of box energy. Ding, the box licking is successful. Congratulations to the host for gaining 1 point of box energy. In an instant, 5 boxes after licking them all. I finished licking them now. There is no martial arts secret book, which is a pity for the magic elixir. What the hell is this Inang thing? Can it make me stronger or handsome? No, I'm already handsome and cute enough. The main goal is to become stronger. Tang Lin was a little disappointed but think about it, I probably just killed a few chickens, ducks, etc. How could there be something like a secret book of exercises? It would be nice to have a box, no matter what it is. Ding, congratulations to the host for completing the first box licking. Reward the host with an eternal diamond lottery. Eternal diamond lottery. Tang Lin was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect that this system has a lottery function, and he was given an eternal diamond at the beginning. Level lottery eternal masonry suddenly felt familiar, and it sounded awesome. Then, an attribute panel appeared in his mind. Host, Tang Lin. Martial spirit, Wu Wei awakened soul power, Wu Wei awakened kung fu skills, none. Box energy. 6 points. Backpack, eternal diamond level lottery x1. Simple and clear at a glance. System, what is this lucky draw? Tang Lin asked calmly, suppressing the turbulence in his heart. The surface was like calm sea water, without any ripples at this time. You must be calm. The host can draw a lottery through the consumption box. The lottery page has been sent to the host's mind. The host can see it, as long as he closes his eyes. Tang Lin immediately closed his eyes, and felt it carefully. Sure enough, another lottery picture appeared in my mind. Bronze level lottery, each time you consume 10 energy points, you will definitely win a bronze level prize, if you draw 10 times in a row. Damn, what does it mean, that you will win, if you draw 10 times in a row? Isn't this lottery a 100% win, and you can only win one of the 10 draws in a row? Something. 10 consecutive draws required 100 points of box energy, and he didn't know if he could get 100 points of box energy in one day. He suddenly felt a lot of pressure, and the pressure continued. Silver level lottery, consume 100 box energy points each time, and you will win silver level prizes for 10 consecutive draws. Platinum level lottery, consume 1000 box energy points each time, and you will win platinum level prizes for 10 consecutive draws. Eternal diamond level lottery, every time spend some energy, and you will definitely win eternal diamond prizes in 10 consecutive draws. Other levels of draws have not been opened. Tang Lin took a deep breath. After reading it, he was so excited that he wanted to dance, but something suddenly occurred to him, and he slowly calmed down. Although the eternal diamond lottery gifted by the system is a good thing, it is just a lottery opportunity. I don't know if I can draw something stable. Don't get carried away. Do you want to try it now? Chapter 3 Eternal Diamond Level Lottery. Lin, what are you doing standing there? At this time, an uncle suddenly spoke and asked playfully. Tang Lin came running with a gust of breath just now, and now he was standing there with his eyes closed, not knowing what he was doing, but his expression was extremely cute. Tang Lin was awakened by his uncle's words. He almost started the lottery just now. How could such an important lottery be used so casually here? It's so dangerous, so dangerous. It's okay. Uncle, how many chickens and ducks have you killed today? Tang Lin asked with a well-behaved look. There's not much business today. I've only killed 7 or 8 so far this morning. There are still a few here that haven't had time to repair. What's wrong? The uncle replied, point after all, this is not a very big tavern, and they can't kill many chickens and ducks in a day. Besides, everyone went to the Wuhan Palace in the center of the city today, and the restaurants and taverns on the periphery basically have no business. No, I'm just asking out of boredom. Uncle, I'm leaving. Tang Lin shook his head and smiled, and then started to walk home. He's starting to understand a little bit now. It's probably because the body is still here, that's why there's a box. If it is made into delicacies and eaten by guests, there will be no box left. Now he knows a little more about the system. Back home, Tang Xiaomi was still sitting on the stool eating food. But why is the chicken in this pot gone? The meat in the other 2 dishes has also disappeared, leaving only a few pieces of vegetarian vegetables. He immediately glanced at Tang Xiaomi. Tang Xiaomi acted as if she hadn't seen Tang Lin come back. She still held the bowl with her 2 little fat hands and kept eating, as if she was afraid that someone would take her job. When you see the pile of chicken bones on the table, you might want to go to heaven, right? Many of the chicken bones on the table have not been eaten clean, and there is still a lot of chicken on top. It can be clearly seen that it is the smelly girl. Tang Xiaomi couldn't bite it, so she licked it a few times and threw it on top. Tang Lin couldn't help but cough a few times, feeling a pain in his heart. If Tang Xiaomi realized something, he looked up at Tang Lin and said with a smile, Jepijin, the chicken is so fragrant and delicious. Tang Lin was speechless for a moment and almost wanted to cry. My silly sister, your brother, I haven't eaten enough yet. I can't help it. People are iron, and rice is steel. Tang Lin was also helpless. While soaking in the chicken soup, Tang Lin quickly ate 2 bowls and then cleared the table. The most important thing next is the lottery. Xiaomi, go upstairs and play with Xiaohui. Tang Lin didn't have time to take care of her right now, so he ordered directly, and without doubt. The little black dog upstairs is her playmate. When she is bored, let her play with him for a while, and she will take a nap when she is tired. Arrange your sister well. Tang Lin first went to wash his hands several times. Lottery is a technical job, and you must wash away any bad luck before drawing. For the first time in his history, he believed this. After washing my hands, I felt something was wrong again. Let's just take another hot bath. He started to heat the hot water to take a bath again. After taking a bath for half an hour, he felt that it was almost done before he came out. I went to the closet in the room upstairs and took out a set of gorgeous and handsome clothes and put them on immediately. Looking in the mirror, I arranged my clothes and styled my hair in a Fajr style. Not bad. The handsome guy is stable now, he said to himself as he stood in front of the mirror, completely ignoring Tang Xiaomi, who was rolling on the ground holding Xiaohui at the door of the room. He felt that it was already very ritualistic. I'm already pious enough to treat this lottery system. I want to use the eternal diamond level lottery opportunity to start the lottery. Sitting at the desk, Tang Lin cleared his throat and communicated with the system. After finishing speaking, Tang Lin closed his eyes. I was very excited and a little nervous. The moment to witness the miracle was about to come. Ding, use the eternal diamond level lottery opportunity. Then Tang Lin found that a turntable appeared in his mind, with various things densely scattered on it, but he just couldn't see what they were. At this time, the pointer of the turntable began to rotate, very fast, and then slowly slow down. I'm trying to trick you like a monkey. If you can, just let me miss. Tang Lin immediately covered his eyes and shouted, road. It's not like he never won prizes in his previous life, but he was very unlucky and almost never won. So he knows that the more you think about winning, the less likely you are to win, so he is willing to risk it now. If you have the ability, let the labor and management fail to win. He feels that only in this way can it be possible to improve his luck and increase the chance of winning. Ding, congratulations to the host for winning the Eternal Diamond prize, which comes with a soul bone, a first level space backpack. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, I really got it, I really got it. Congratulations on winning the Eternal Diamond. At the word super prize, Tang Lin instantly jumped up from his seat and screamed wildly. It felt like he had won millions. He was so happy that he couldn't help himself for a moment. But when he heard the name of the prize, he calmed down quickly. What is it? A first class package? Tang Lin was a little confused. This isn't PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. You give me a level 1 guarantee. Forget it. Doesn't the system have a system backpack? System, don't you have a backpack function? Tang Lin immediately asked the system. He had seen it before. When I checked my attributes panel, I saw the backpack column. I thought winning an eternal diamond prize would be something good. This system wouldn't come here specifically to cheat me on my lottery chances. The system's backpack capacity is limited. The system replied. This is alright. It is indeed a parallel import system. After thinking for a long time, Tang Lin finally understood. This is almost the same as the game of chicken. The backpack that comes with the system is probably equivalent to the belt in the game of chicken, with a relatively small space capacity. But it still feels like a bit of a loss. Shouldn't the attached soul bone be a very rare and awesome thing? And it's also an eternal diamond level prize. At this time, the system gave an explanation. Space backpack. It can hold a large number of items, up to 100 cubic meters in size, and it also has the form of a parachute, and the attached soul bones have the ability to grow. After hearing the system's explanation, Tang Lin was convinced. This wave is really stable. The externally attached soul bones are indeed capable of growth. The little brother I just recognized from the Holy Soul Village, the absolute protagonist of the Douluo continent, the Poseidon Tang San's external soul bone 8 spider spears can even grow to the point of being comparable to the angel wings in the later stage. And what is the concept of 100 cubic meters? Even Tang San's 24 bridges on a bright moon night only had 24 cubic meters of space. It is indeed an eternal diamond prize. Moreover, this space backpack also has a parachute form, which is even better. It is simply tailor-made for him. He can already think of it. One day, on the top of the cliff, a handsome and brave young man will jump without fear of life or death. Jump, and then get the supreme opportunity. Tang Lin laughed. He is now very satisfied with this space backpack. Really produced by the system. It must be a high quality product. Lin, what did you yell just now? Why are you laughing so happily? Suddenly, a familiar voice came, and Tang Lin's laughter suddenly stopped. Mom is back. When will mom be back? Tang Lin's mother, Li Ro, had just returned downstairs, but suddenly she heard Tang Lin's excited shouting upstairs, so she came up. Mom, I'm fine. I just thought of some happy things. Tang Lin quickly explained when he saw his mother coming to the door. Mama. At this time, Tang Xiaomi came over. Tang Xiaomi and Xiao Heli were playing in their parents' room next door, and they ran over when they heard their mother's voice. Before she saw Li Ro, she called her mother. Now that she saw her, she stretched out her 2 little hands to ask her mother to hug her. This silly girl likes to be hugged by her family the most. Chapter 4 Notting Slaughterhouse. His mother picked up his sister, and Tang Lin hurried downstairs, and then to the back kitchen of the tavern. But today many people went to Wuhan Hall to watch the ceremony, so there were not as many guests as usual coming in to eat and drink. So now it's hard for him to lick the box. After looking at the attributes panel, I saw that the box energy only had 6 points, which was not enough for a bronze level draw. This can't go on like this. He started to frown and thought for a while. Suddenly, I had an idea and went to the slaughterhouse in Notting City to see that it was the supplier of almost half of Notting City's poultry and animal meat. I don't know how many pigs and dogs are slaughtered every day, and countless chickens and ducks are slaughtered. If you can get there, you don't know how many boxes you can get just by walking around. Thinking of this, Tang Lin's eyes lit up. It was as if he had seen a path to becoming a god by licking boxes. Mom, I want to go out. Tang Lin immediately came over and said to Li Rao. Oh, where are you going? Li Rao knew that he was very sensible, but she didn't trust him to run around casually. She couldn't let him go out to play without enough reasons. I want to go to the Wuhan Hall to see them awaken their Wuhan. In order to reassure his mother, Tang Lin made a random excuse. As long as he didn't go out of town, his mother would usually agree to it. Of course he couldn't tell his mother that he was going to a place like a slaughterhouse, otherwise he wouldn't really want to go out. At this time, Tang Xiaomi had already been coaxed to sleep by his mother. It was a good time for him to go out. Otherwise, she won't be able to go anywhere if she sticks to her. then go, hold Zhao Hen's hand, and come back early. Li Rao thought for a while, and agreed. Tang Lin was asked to hold Zhao Hen's hand just in case. If Tang Lin got lost, and didn't know how to get home, Zhao Hen would still be there, to take him back. Tang Lin put Zhao Hen's dog leash on his hand, and reassured his mother, before leaving for the Notting slaughterhouse. Zhao Hen, today I will take you out to see the world, Tang Lin said, as soon as he went out, and looked in a certain direction in Notting City. Woof woof woof. Zhao Hen flicked his tail wildly, as if he could eat a lot of rice fields in the next moment. He was very excited. Seeing Zhao Hen's excited look, Tang Lin nodded with satisfaction. He knew about the Notting slaughterhouse. This belonged to a noble in Notting City. His pub had some cooperation with the slaughterhouse before, but later, probably because of interests, they no longer cooperated. The food in the tavern now basically comes from Holy Soul Village. It was decided after my mother personally went to talk to the people in the village for a long time. Tang Lin first walked towards the center of Notting City and the branch of Wuhan Palace, then turned a corner at the building in front, and walked towards Notting Slaughterhouse. There was nothing interesting about Wuhan Palace and Wuhan Awakening. He used to be very interested in it, but after watching it a few times in the past few years, he no longer had that curious freshness. Now all he could think about was licking the bag. In fact, the Notting slaughterhouse, like his pub, was on the outskirts of Notting City, and some distance away from his home. In the alley there seemed to be a few children playing around. Tang Lin passed by with Zhao Hen in hand, and took a casual look inside. There were 5 or 6 little boys, all around 5 or 6 years old, bullying another little boy. Tang Lin frowned. Today's children start forming gangs, and fighting at such a young age. I think they were only exposed to this kind of thing when they were teenagers in his previous life. When he was 5 or 6 years old, he wished he had a few more peers to play in the mud with him. Isn't this Douluo continent really a place of the jungle? What are you looking at? Hurry up and leave. If you don't leave, we will take you with us. I'll beat you up, believe it or not. A boy suddenly noticed Tang Lin watching them at the entrance of the alley, so he put his hands on his hips and roared menacingly. Tang Lin was sighing about life when he didn't expect to be threatened by someone all of a sudden, and he was a little kid at that point in his eyes. These guys are all brats, and of course he will ignore them. But when the boy was talking to him, Tang Lin saw through him the man who was being bullied. He only had the impression of who it was. If you still don't leave, do you want to be beaten by us? The boy yelled again. Tang Lin was only thinking about his own affairs, and ignored them at all. Although he might not be able to beat the kids across from him who looked a little older than him, he could completely crush them with his IQ. Liang Yi, I didn't expect you, a loser, to have a helper. What do you think you can do if you have a helper? Look at him, he doesn't dare to come and save you. A little boy started to laugh mockingly. The others also laughed. Liang Yi. After hearing his name, Tang Lin suddenly remembered, isn't this the son of the aristocratic Baron Liang Yi in the slaughterhouse? Tang Lin was worried about how he would enter the slaughterhouse then, but after a little calculation in his mind, Tang Lin smiled. Zhao Hen was kicked by someone unknown at this time. His buttocks felt painful, and he screamed a few times. Tang Lin suddenly looked forward, dumbfounded, as if he had seen something unbelievable, and then said loudly, Master Liang, Master Liang, come here quickly, look at your son, he is being bullied inside. Tang Lin's expressions, movements, sounds, etc. were all in place, and with Zhao Hen's assist, the boys felt as if Liang Yi's father had really arrived. Those little brats who had never seen their peers who were so good at acting screamed and ran away across the alley. Master Liang, come quickly, they are running away. At this time, Tang Lin added fuel to the fire again. They ran faster. The boy who yelled at Tang Lin just fell down and crawled away quickly, which made Tang Lin laugh. It's not easy to deal with a bunch of brats. Zhao Hen, don't you have any objection if I kick you? Tang Lin looked at Zhao Hen at this time. Zhao Hen shook his tail. Well, that's fine. Liang Yi really thought his father was here. He looked left and right, but he couldn't see his father anywhere. He was suddenly a little confused. He touched his head and wondered where his father was. Come out quickly. Your father didn't come. I lied to them, otherwise they wouldn't have left. Tang Lin said with a smile. Thank you. My name is Liang Yi. Liang Yi is not stupid. He understands now. After walking out, he said thank you to Tang Lin and introduced himself. Tang Lin glanced at him and nodded. Some noble children are very well educated, such as the Liang Yi in front of me, and some noble children are really just children, or even naughty children, such as the previous children. From their clothes, Tang Lin could tell that they were all noble children. Hello, my name is Tang Lin. Why are they bullying you? Why are you here alone? Tang Lin asked curiously as he walked with him. Liang Yi lowered his head, obviously not wanting to say anything. After all, being bullied by others was not a glorious thing. Don't say it if you don't want to. I'm going to play in the slaughterhouse. Do you want to come with me? Go and play. I'll go too. Since he was a child, there weren't many people to play with him. When he heard that Tang Lin was willing to take him to play, of course he is happy. Not long after, Tang Lin and Liang Yi came to a large iron arch door. Above the arch are written the words Notting Slaughterhouse. Tang Lin was a little excited. Even though the smell inside was disgusting, he stared at the inside as if nothing was wrong. At the depths of the slaughterhouse, where livestock and poultry are slaughtered. Is your home here too? Where should we go to play now? Liang Yi asked. My home is not here. I came here to play. I want to go in and play. Can you take me in to play? Tang Lin tempted him with an innocent look. I can take you in. He also wanted to show it at this time. But it stinks inside, and it's not fun inside. Liang Yi added after finishing speaking. No way. My brother who lives next door said it was fun inside, so I came here. How about we go in and have a look? Tang Lin said nonchalantly with a serious look. It's not like Liang Yi has never been in it. After all, this is his family's slaughterhouse. But this slaughterhouse gave him the impression that it was smelly and not fun. Now, when I heard Tang Lin say that there was something fun inside, he was like a child, so he couldn't think of anything else. So he directly replied, okay, let's go in and play. Chapter 5 Licking the bag. 1 hour feels good. Master. There was an uncle guarding the door of the slaughterhouse. When he saw Liang Yi coming, he just shouted and didn't ask any more questions. Liang Yi took Tang Lin into the slaughterhouse like this. The slaughterhouse is huge. After all, most of the meat in Notting City is shipped from here. As soon as he came in, Tang Lin kept asking if there was a box near the system, but the result was that there was none. He wasn't disappointed either. You can only find it when you go to the actual slaughtering place. He didn't know if he and Liang Yi could get close to that kind of place. Currently, the system can only scan boxes within 5 meters of him and cannot scan boxes further away. Along the way, there were many pigs, cows, dogs, chickens, ducks, etc. transported from other places. They are kept in different places. The first place I saw was a large pigsty with many white and black pigs in it, probably dozens of them. Well, some time ago, there was swine fever in the Star Luo Empire. A large number of pigs died, and the pig bosses in the Star Luo Empire were crying to death. Now that the price of pork has soared, the pig bosses in Ashai and Dao Empire are laughing so hard. You don't have an ear to hear. Who says it's not true? I don't know why swine fever broke out in the Star Luo Empire. These pigs are so valuable now. They are all golden pigs. Now everyone can't even eat pork. Get up. I wish I had listened to my family and raised pigs in the countryside. Near the pig farm, several employees were discussing. Seeing Liang Yi coming, they also greeted respectfully. Young master. This is the status of a soul master in Douluo continent. Even if Liang Yi is not a soul master, he is Liang Yi's son and is very likely to become a soul master in the future. Division. They admire each other from the bottom of their hearts. After the pig farm, we arrived at the dog shed. There are relatively few dogs here, about 30 or 40. There may be more in other places, but there are only so many here. These dogs kept barking inside regardless of whether anyone was passing by. Tang Lin looked at Zhao Henny. He was still his cute little Henny. Let's go over there and see if there's anything interesting there. The front was obviously full of animals that hadn't been killed yet. Let's leave. There was no point in going down, so Tang Lin decisively chose another direction. Okay. Liang Yi said. Tang Lin took 2 steps in that direction. The dog leash in his hand seemed to pull him, and he turned to look over. Interesting. Xiao Hei found a black dog in the dog shed nearby. Because almost all of them are yellow dogs, with only a few black ones. Among them, one black dog stands out the most, and is easily spotted by Xiao Hei. The black dog's black hair is relatively shiny. It is not easy to keep it so clean in a place like this. Tang Lin thought to himself that this black dog was considered a handsome dog inside. At this time, Xiao Hei barked at it a few times outside, and the black dog inside also barked a few times. Although he didn't know what they were talking about, Tang Lin could feel it in Xiao Hei's eyes. It was a look of admiration. Xiao Hei seemed to have found love. Tang Lin quickly pulled the rope in his hand. Xiao Hei, why didn't he learn how to do this at such a young age? Xiao Hei whined a few times in a low voice. He was very reluctant to have a dog that made him fall in love with him at first sight. Tang Lin sighed and advised earnestly, Xiao Hei, you're still young. Then he pulled the rope again. Xiao Hei still didn't want to leave. His 2 dog paws firmly grasped the wooden fence in front of the dog shed, and his little eyes looked lovingly at the clean black dog inside. Damn it, you are still in love with me, right? Xiao Hei, there is no handsome dog anywhere in the world. Why bother to fall in love with a hairy one? Let's go. When you grow up, I will find you a powerful and handsome dog. Tang Lin still has feelings for Xiao Hei and doesn't want to use violence to pull him away, otherwise he will be very sad. So he spoke again to persuade. Xiao Hei kept shaking his head as if responding to Tang Lin. It just didn't listen, and it looked like it was extremely sad. Its cry was weak and mournful. Xiao Hei, if you keep doing this, you won't have any bones to chew on tonight. You should think clearly about it yourself. Tang Lin's face turned dark, and he threatened directly. Miraculously, Xiao Hei seemed to understand something. Although he was still reluctant to let go, he still walked over after Tang Lin pulled him. Tang Lin sighed in his heart. This little Hei is a bit spiritual. Along the way, Tang Lin comforted little Hei from time to time, saying that he would give him extra food tonight. Hearing little Hei's tail wagging, he slowly walked more and more floaty. Compared to love at first sight, Xiao Hei still prefers chewing bones. Tang Lin was helpless. Even a dog in Douluo continent was so realistic. The ground was stained with blood. In a large slaughtering place, many pig carcasses were lying on the ground, and a bunch of people were shaving the pigs there. Tang Lin was overjoyed and came to the right place. Xiao Yi, there are many people there. Let's go there to have fun. Tang Lin said to Liang Yi. Without waiting for his answer, she took his little hand and slowly came over here. Young master, young master. Young master. Those people greeted Liang Yi while doing things. Looking at the pig carcasses, Tang Lin felt happy. Ding, the box licking was successful, and 1 box energy point was obtained. Ding, the box licking was successful, and 1 box energy point was obtained. Ding, the box licking was successful, and the box energy point was obtained. Get 1 box energy point. Ding, lick the box successfully, get 2 box energy points. Ding, lick the box successfully, get 1 box energy point. As the saying goes, licking the bag is good for a while, and it will always be good if you keep licking the bag. Liang Yi is licked from here to there. Just be careful and don't run around. The adults don't care about their 2 little children. Tang Lin also discovered this, so he felt confident. Holding Xiao Hei with his left hand and Liang Yi with his right hand, he quickly walked around the place. Box Neng. 34 o'clock. In just 2 minutes, Tang Lin licked almost 30 boxes. Tang Lin was so happy now. Liang Yi 2. Although Liang Yi had no idea what Tang Lin was doing, he found it very interesting and fun to be led by Tang Lin from here to there. Normally, there were no other people of his own age who would play with him. Tang Lin was willing to take him to play with him. I felt so happy. Now he would do whatever Tang Lin said. He had no brains to trust him. Xiao, let's go play somewhere else. The box in the pig farm here has been licked. Hearing the chickens crow next door, Tang Lin immediately looked over there. The target is directed towards the next battlefield, and the chicken farm comes here. Tang Lin was more than a little surprised. There were not only chickens in this chicken farm, but also ducks. Looking over there, the chickens and ducks had been repaired to pieces. Many of them were being killed, and some were being pressed into the pond. The inside was scalded with boiling water. At this time, an old hen was frightened and peed. It screamed wildly, broke free from the rope, and ran towards Tang Lin and the others. Damn, even this chicken knows that this place is unscientific. Who the hell is this chicken looking down on? Zioi, catch it, don't let it escape. Tang Lin shouted, and Liang Yi instantly became a chicken. Running towards the top of the old hen slaughterhouse like blood, a guard in armor saw what was going on below and said to a middle-aged man in black next to him, "Sir, I will go down and invite the young master up." In his opinion, even he would not bother to come to such a dirty place, let alone a person of the young master's status. No, it's rare for the young master to have a playmate and have such fun. Let him play. The man in black shook his head. He shook his head to stop. He is Liangbo, the steward of the Liang family. Liang Yi grew up under his nose, just like his own son. Liang Yi usually doesn't have many playmates of the same age, and is very lonely, so he doesn't want to stop him now. The guard hesitated to speak, but he also knew the identity of the man in black, and did not dare to say more. The old hen cannot be caught, but you can scare it away, and make it run in other directions. And an adult can catch it. Tang Lin felt comfortable. He led Liang Yi and started licking the box, as if he were shopping in a chicken farm. The number of boxes increased little by little. The people here seemed to have received some kind of order, and did not dare to care about Liang Yi or him, which surprised him a lot. But he was also happy to see the result. Not long after, the box here was licked by him. Henung reached 157 points. Tang Lin was about to take Liang Yi to the next battlefield, but suddenly a man in black appeared. It's the butler. Both Liang and Yi now smell bad and their clothes are dirty. The housekeeper can't let him play like this anymore. So they didn't get to go anywhere else. But that's okay. After all, it's getting late now. My mother will be worried if I go back too late. Tang Lin is also a person who knows how to be content and happy. Seeing Liang Yi's somewhat reluctant look, Tang Lin knew that he had already established a relationship with him. So he smiled and agreed with Liang Yi to play together next time, and then took Zio Hei home. When leaving the slaughterhouse, Zio Hei glanced in the direction of the dog shed. Chapter 6 Bronze Level Prizes. HMMJJ smells so bad. Mummy, numbness. When Tang Lin returned home, the stench made Tang Ziomi frown in disgust. She originally ran over to let her brother hug her, but she ran halfway through. I asked about the stinky smell. Fortunately, she reacted, braked quickly, and ran away, while calling her mother like a child who had done something wrong. Tang Lin walked lightly to the bathroom and started taking a bath. He didn't want his mother to find out. Tang Lin was very smart. He washed his clothes and other items directly after taking a shower. Even Zio Hei was washed clean and beautiful by him. Not long after comfort, one person and one dog came out of the bathroom. As soon as Zio Hei came out, he shook the water from his body wildly. After he finished shaking his body, he sat down and shook his head vigorously. Zio Hei, don't throw it away. All the water was thrown on Tang Lin. Tang Lin was not happy at that time. He thought he could make a hairstyle or something like that. Zio Lin, come over for dinner. His mother's voice came. Tang Lin immediately came to the dining table. Zio Hei was wagging his tail and staring at Tang Lin. That little look seemed to say, don't forget what you said today. Tang Lin rolled his eyes at Zio Hei. But considering that it had no merit, but still had to work hard today, it was still okay to give him a few more pieces of meat. System, I want to draw a lottery. Tang Lin was very excited in the room. He got more than 150 box energy points today. He couldn't bear it any longer. Now he must start the lottery immediately. The host currently has 157 box energy points and can only draw bronze level. You can draw 10 consecutive draws once, and 5 single draws, or 15 single draws. It seems like there are many boxes of energy, but it can only draw bronze level ones, and it is only enough for a few draws. I don't know what the bronze level prizes will be. Tang Lin closed his eyes, and the bronze level turntable appeared in front of him. Then, a lottery was held toward the center of the prize plate. The hands began to spin rapidly. One shot enters the soul. One shot, Tang Lin thought silently in his heart. Ding, thank you for participating. I will definitely win next time. It's a bad start, but it doesn't matter. The so-called lottery is just like this. How can there be so many boxes that can get the soul from 157 to 147 point? Those were 10 boxes. Although it was a bit heartbreaking, he could still see through it. Point drawing again. Thank you for participating. I will definitely win next time. Tang Lin felt a cold swish on his back. Why did his luck seem to be a little bad tonight? Then he drew again. Thank you for participating. I will definitely win next time. Tang Lin was very sad. He couldn't win anything 3 times. Sometimes people are just so unlucky. Point you really can't be dissatisfied. Point the 30 boxes that you worked so hard to lick are just like this. What kind of lottery system is this? The probability of winning is so low. Everything can only be done by 3. System, host, I advise you to be kind. Tang Lin said to the system in his heart. Point the system said nothing. Point Tang Lin took a deep breath and slowly clicked the lottery button again. Point the pointer on the turntable rotates rapidly. Point gradually. The pointer gradually stopped. Thank you for participating. I will definitely win next time. Damn this system. I want to complain. How can anyone play like this? I trick you like a monkey, and then look at the box energy. There are only 117 points left in the box energy. Point it's not okay to continue like this. No, since you are bound to win if you draw 10 consecutive rounds. Let's do 10 consecutive draws first. You have to see what the hell the bronze prizes are before talking about it. Point thinking of this, he suddenly felt a little regretful. He regretted that he had been too impulsive and used up so much of the box without thinking about anything. System, 10 consecutive bronze level draws. The big turntable rotated, prizes of various colors flashed, and the pointer also rotated. Point 10 consecutive draws are different. Although the pointer is spinning rapidly, you can clearly see that it has 10 pointers. Although it feels a bit gaudy, it is pretty good looking, not to mention. Point Tang Lin clenched his fists, looking forward to the bronze level prize. Ding, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Tang Lin was very excited. Although he knew that nothing good would come out of the bronze level, his mood in this lottery was the same as when he was in the eternal diamond level lottery. Congratulations to the host for winning Master Kong's old altar. A bucket of pickled cabbage noodles, a bottle of Red Bull, and a black retractable mask. Tang Lin was really confused for a moment. He had imagined that there might be a lot of things in the bronze level lottery, but they were all things from Douluo continent. Point he never thought that he could pull out all the things from his previous life, which made him extremely happy. This feeling was like discovering a new world, which made him even happier than before when he obtained the external soul bone. Point Laotan pickled cabbage noodles and Red Bull. What a nostalgic past. I remember when he stayed up late surfing the internet at the internet cafe. He ordered a bucket of Laotan pickled cabbage noodles and a bottle of Red Bull. Point because he didn't like the smell of smoke in the internet cafe. He also wore a black mask. This system was really interesting. It instantly brought him back to that night of eating chicken 6 years ago. It was so full of memories. Does this mean that there will be opportunities to draw mobile phones and computers in the future? Will there be planes, tanks, rockets, and cannons in higher level draws? Just thinking about it makes his heart surge. Point if there really is one, it would be an awesome 10 draws in a row. Spend 100 points in the box. To get 3 bronze level prizes you can spend 40 points on a box by drawing 4 times, but get nothing. Point what is this system trying to tell me? It seems that I will have to be more careful with 10 draws in a row in the future. Point there are currently 17 boxes left. Point reason told him that it would be better if he kept it for 10 consecutive draws, but there was always a voice deep in his heart telling him to give it a try. He endured the change from a bicycle to a motorcycle for a long time, and it was so uncomfortable that he couldn't bear it anymore. Thank you for participating. I will definitely win next time. I regret it, but there is no regret medicine in this world. Point the next day. Point Tang Lin got up early to exercise as always first. A morning run. Point I didn't have any goals before, as long as there was a road ahead. Point but after getting the licking box system, he ran away with a purpose. Point he can be found in the streets and alleys near his home in Notting City, in hotels and restaurants, and in all places where there may be boxes. Point certainly. Point it's rude to go to someone's kitchen. Although he can be cute. But he didn't care. His main purpose is to exercise his body, not forgetting his true nature, and moving forward is the right path. After a morning, I gained nothing. Then start doing other training. From time to time, I would go back to the chicken slaughtering place in the back kitchen of my restaurant and lick some boxes to harvest the box energy. I read books from time to time and take care of my sister. After all, as a tavern proprietress, my mother has her work to do. So Tang Xiaomi was often led by Tang Lin. The life was quite comfortable. More than 20 days passed in a flash. During this period, he never met Liang Yi again, so others did not let him enter the slaughterhouse. For a month he licked the box almost exclusively at the family restaurant. After 4 consecutive 10 draws, the current box energy is only 79 points, and the only things he had drawn were the 2 bottles of Red Bull that he had already drank and a few sausages that he had secretly eaten. Others are difficult to take out, so they can only be placed in the system backpack. After this period of time, he already knew. The amount of energy in the box is related to the year of the animal. For example, a chicken that is less than a year old can only be eaten in 1 box. The pig that is almost 2 years old has 2 points of box energy. A 5-year-old cow has 5 points of box energy. Of course, these are just ordinary animals. He has never licked the box of a soul beast or soul master until now. I don't know what the boxes of soul beasts and soul masters look like. In a few days, he will be 6 years old. He also didn't know what martial soul he would awaken and what level his innate soul power would be. But with the system in hand, he didn't panic at all. And at this time, his father, Tang Feng, came back. Chapter 7. Father Tang Feng. Night. When Tang Lin's family of 3 were sitting at the dining table and preparing to eat, a tall, muscular man walked in directly from the door. "Dad, you're back." Tang Lin stood up and shouted obediently when he saw the person coming. "Well, Dad is back," Tang Feng said. Dad. Tang Xiaomi jumped down from the stool excitedly and ran towards his father. Tang Feng lifted her up and held her in his arms, as if worried that his father would leave again. Tang Xiaomi hugged his father's neck tightly and refused to let go, no matter what. Tears shone in her big watery eyes, but she still held back the tears. Her father doesn't spend as much time at home as her mother does, so she misses her father the most. She would do this every time her father came back. Tang Feng's eyes felt as if there was sand in them. He rubbed his eyes. Why didn't he want to be with his wife and children every day? Under the slightly dim light, Tang Lin could clearly see that his father's eyes were slightly red. "What are you standing for? Let's sit down and eat together when we get back," Li Rao said angrily. She was equally happy at the moment. "Okay, wife." Tang Feng suddenly laughed happily. The entire painting style changed, and there was no majestic look of a father at all. Tang Lin put a hand on his forehead. He was strict with his wife. The family then sat down at the dinner table. Tang Feng wanted to put his daughter down, but Tang Xiaomi refused to do anything. In the end, there was no other way. Tang Feng could only feed her lovingly while eating. "Xiaolin, you are about to turn 6 years old. Dad came back at this time specially to take you to Haoshan sect and awaken your martial spirit." Halfway through the meal, Tang Feng suddenly said, "Dad, there's no need to go to so much trouble. Just awaken in the spirit hall of Notting City." Tang Lin replied, "It's so far to go to Haoshan sect to awaken the martial soul. Haoshan sect is so far away. Isn't there nothing to do? It would be better to awaken directly in the Notting City Spirit Hall." He had already planned to go to the Wuhan Hall to awaken his Wuhan on the day he turned 6. Moreover, he must try his best to find ways to get Su Yuntao to help him awaken. After all, he helped awaken the protagonist. Even if you are lucky, it is still good. I'm afraid this won't work. I've already told you about the relationship between our Haoshan sect and Wuhan Palace. How can I let you go to Wuhan Palace to awaken your martial soul? Tang Feng said immediately. "Take you to Haoshan sect to awaken your martial spirit. Wuhan also allows you to recognize the sect. After all, you have never been to the sect once. And I also plan to let you stay in Haoshan sect to practice. Our sect has its own training system that is suitable for our cultivation. Although Haoshan sector Xianzong has no choice but to retreat now, but it is still the #1 sect in the world. Having the support of the sect in the sect is many times stronger than practicing outside. Tang Feng said a lot in his head. During the process, Tang Lin also put down his bowls and chopsticks and listened quietly. He knew that his father was thinking about him. Tang Lin usually gets up before dawn to run and exercise, and studies diligently at home, all of which show his yearning to become a soul master. Tang Feng saw all this. He knew that Tang Lin had a strong heart, so he had already made plans for Tang Lin's future. Now he just wanted to make Tang Lin mentally prepared, otherwise it would be too sudden if Tang Lin was left in the Haoshan sect, which would seriously hurt Tang Lin's young mind. Tang Lin also knew that what his father said was correct, and he also knew this, but staying in the Haoshan sect may mean that you have to leave your parents and Xiaomi. To be honest, he couldn't bear it. And now, he has roughly some ideas of his own so he said decisively, Dad, I agree to go to Haoshan sect to awaken my martial soul and recognize the sect, but I don't agree to let me stay in Haoshan sect to practice. I don't want to be separated from you. Tang Feng was a little bit. He looked over with hatred. Just listen to your father. Your father is doing it for your own good. Li Rao also advised. Although she was not willing to let her son leave her side, she had noticed that Tang Lin had been training him every day, so she also wanted her son to fulfill his wish and become a powerful soul master. No matter what, let's go to Haoshan sect tomorrow. Everything will wait until Haoshan sect. Let's eat first. Tang Feng didn't want to say more now. Tang Lin's original plan was to stop by not in college after awakening the martial spirit and talk to Master Yu Xiao Gang about martial arts and spirit ring and spirit beasts. After all, the master is a genius. If you can get some guidance from the master, it will definitely be of great help to you. However, my father has a tougher attitude, and now it seems he can only take it one step at a time. A night of silence. In the morning, Tang Lin still insisted on getting up early and going for a morning run, which had become his habit. After the morning exercise, Tang Lin came home panting. Mom had prepared breakfast long ago, so as soon as Tang Lin walked in, he smelled the delicious food. Xiaolin, go up and ask Dad and the others to come down and get ready to eat. Seeing Tang Lin coming back, Li Rao called out from the kitchen. Oh, I got it. Tang Lin came to his father's room. Gently pushing open the wooden door of the room, I saw a tall and handsome man over 2 meters tall, sleeping in a big shape on the bed. It was his father Tang Feng. And on Dad's belly, there was a little man carved in pink and jade, also lying in the shape of a big character, sleeping soundly and soundly. It is my sister Xiaomi. At this moment, the two of them even looked the same when sleeping, with their mouths slightly open and a little drool at the corner of their mouths. This scene made Tang Lin speechless. He and his mother got up before dawn almost every day, and his father, my sister and I almost slept until midnight. And he would hardly wake up if no one called him. Dad, it's time to get up for breakfast. Tang Lin went in, pulled Tang Feng, and shouted in his ear. However, it was as if Tang Feng couldn't hear him, and he was still sleeping soundly without any reaction. On the other hand, Tang Xiaomi on his belly moved his little ears slightly, and his mouth chirped at the same time. Dad, it's time to get up and eat. Tang Lin pinched his father's nose with his little hand and said again. Tang Feng stirred and woke up in a daze. Tang Xiaomi also woke up. He slowly climbed up from his father's belly and sat up. He rubbed his eyes with his two small fists. After thinking for a while, he supported his father's belly and started to turn around. Then he looked at Tang Lin with a blank expression. The lovely Tang Lin's heart melted instantly. Xiaolin, is it dawn? Tang Feng was in a daze. His voice was lazy and tired. Hearing his father's voice, Tang Xiaomi quickly crawled to his father's eyes like a conditioned reflex and hugged his father's neck tightly. When Tang Lin saw this scene, his nose suddenly felt a little sore. It would be great if his father could accompany his sister every day. But when her father was not at home, she still had her mother and herself with her. She played crazily with Xiaohei every day, and she would only stop when she ran out of energy, so she was happy every day. Only when his father comes back will she stick to him like this. Dad, it's already dawn. If we don't go down, the food will be cold. Get up quickly, Tang Lin said. Seeing that his father was unmoved, Tang Lin stopped calling him because he knew that in this case, he would have to wait for his mother to bring a stick to wake him up. Xiaomi, you're hungry and you didn't come. Can my brother take you down to eat? He stretched out his hand to bring Tang Xiaomi over, but now that my sister has a father, she no longer wants her brother. Tang Lin was a little helpless and coaxed. Dad will be down soon. Xiaomi, be good. Brother will take you to eat meat. Tang Xiaomi hesitated for a moment, but when she thought of eating meat, she instantly let go and let Tang Lin hug her. Got up. Tang Lin still understands his sister better. This girl likes to eat meat and is very forgetful. As long as she doesn't see her dad for half an hour, she won't remember that she has a dad. Afternoon. The family quickly prepared their things and got on the carriage directly to Haotian sect. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8. Going to the Haotian School. Chiandao Empire. Haotian sect. After a long journey, their family of 4 finally arrived in front of the Haotian sect. In front of them was an ordinary village. When they got off the carriage, they could even see a few children playing at the entrance of the village. Some children. There was also a puppy with him. If Tang Lin hadn't read the original work, he would never have believed that this was the Haotian sect, which was once the #1 sect in the world. An old man at the entrance of the village was enjoying himself watching the children playing around him. Suddenly seeing a few people in Tang Feng's group, he opened his mouth and said without looking at who they were, "Please leave here. We don't welcome outsiders here." Tang Feng smiled slightly, moved his right hand, and instantly fired a huge clear sky hammer. Appeared out of thin air. "Village chief, I'm not an outsider. It turns out that Lord Tang Feng is back. I'm blind. Don't be surprised." The old man only raised his head to look at Tang Feng when he saw the clear sky hammer and immediately said respectfully, "Village chief, you don't have to be polite." The village chief asked a few people to move the supplies in the car behind and distribute them to the people in the village. Tang Feng stepped forward and supported the village chief. "How embarrassing is this?" The village chief replied with a smile on his face. Although he said so, he still glanced behind the car a few times. Tang Feng smiled, walked directly into the village with his wife and children, and continued walking towards Haotian sect. This small mountain village is not so much the Haotian sect as it is the outpost of the Haotian sect. Even if the Haotian sect is forced to retire, it will not be in such a state of decline. The people living in the village are all affiliated branches of the Haotian sect. Tang Lin has also visited Haotian sect several times in the past 2 years since he retired, and each time he would bring some supplies to the people in the village. After all, their life here is not very good, so he can only help as much as he can. A family of 4 soon arrived at the back of the village. "You go ahead, I'll wait for you in the village." Li Rao stopped and said, "The real Haotian sect is actually still a long way away. When we got here, my mother didn't want to go any further." Tang Lin knew that this was probably because her mother was not a soul master, so she was not favored by those in the sect. He has been in Notting City since he was born and has never been to Haotian sect. The reason for this may only be known to him when his father wants to tell him. Now all he has in his mind are guesses. "Let's go. Today is the day when my son's martial spirit awakens. All 4 of us are going." Tang Feng smiled and said firmly. Seeing Tang Feng's determined look, Li Rao couldn't say anything more and could only nod in agreement. Soon, the family of 4 had left the village from behind. Directly in front of them was a bare mountain peak. The mountain itself is not high, but it is extremely steep. The entire mountain wall is almost vertical to the ground and is extremely smooth without any plants. Hearing Tang Feng say that the first step to get to the current Haotian sect is to climb to the top of this stone mountain, Li Rao was amazed for a moment. Even Tang Lin, who had been mentally prepared, was secretly stunned and couldn't help but tremble. Chills. On the other hand, Tang Xiaomi was dancing and shouting, "It's fun, it's fun," which made Li Rao and Tang Lin helpless. Tang Lin was still a little curious about his father's true strength. It just so happens that you can take this opportunity to take a look. For safety, Tang Feng decided to take Tang Lin and Tang Xiaomi up first, and then turned back to pick up Li Rao Point. After discussing it, Tang Feng held Tang Lin in one hand and Tang Xiaomi in the other and came to the foot of the mountain point. Tang Feng squatted down slightly and then jumped instantly. The speed was very fast, and he was immediately more than 10 meters high from the ground. There were small pits every 10 meters or so on the stone wall. Tang Feng jumped more than 10 meters high and then stepped on it. On the small pit in the stone wall, I used my strength to jump up the mountain. The Haitian sect was really sealed. The steep mountain wall in front of me was just the first level, but ordinary people below level 500, it is simply impossible for a soul master to climb up point. Even a soul master above level 2000 needs to have enough courage to pass this level without telling anyone secretly. Point Tang Lin's heart was pounding at this moment, and he was a little nervous. Tang Xiaomi, on the other hand, was tightly clamped by his father's arm, looking at Tang Lin and laughing. Pointed her short legs kept swaying to the rhythm of her father going up the mountain, and she seemed to be having a lot of fun there. Point Tang Lin admired his sister very much. Point is this called the ignorant being fearless? Soon, Tang Feng took the two children to the top of the mountain. The view ahead suddenly opened up, with green vegetation all over the mountains and plains. After Tang Feng dropped the two of them and picked up Li Rao, the family of four began to move forward. Point surrounded by steep peaks, the four of them walked slowly for a long time before reaching the end of the peak at their feet. The peak at their feet was probably about meters high, so it was surrounded by clouds and mist and was completely white. Point following the same pattern, Tang Feng, Tang Lin, Tang Xiaomi and the others jumped directly into the deep stream in front of them, and they disappeared into the clouds and mist in an instant. Point Tang Lin could see from his father's armpit that at the end of the mountain there was an iron cable, as thick as an arm, extending into the distance, which should be directly connected to another mountain. Point the surrounding clouds and mist hide it very well. If you don't look carefully, it is really difficult to find it. Point, although the iron rope will sway in the air, as long as you have a certain strength and can stabilize your body, you will naturally be able to walk through it. Point even a level soul master can easily do this, but if someone wants to attack Haitian sect, they only need someone to cut off the iron chain on the opposite side, and the enemy will be helpless. This is also the purpose of this level. Point Tang Lin remembered that the chain should be 1000 meters long, but Tang Feng had already walked through it in a matter of seconds, and then walked from the chain on the second mountain to the third, all the way to the fourth mountain point. Since the altitude of the fourth and fifth peaks is relatively high, the iron chains during this period are covered with a thin layer of ice. If you are not careful, you will fall directly into the deep stream and die. Point, although Tang Feng was confident that he could survive, he couldn't joke with the lives of his two children. Point, so I tied myself and the two children with ropes and then tied the chains. After everything was done, I started to cross. Now Tang Lin was no longer so nervous and scared. He guessed that his father's strength might have reached the level of Soul Emperor or even Soul Saint. You guys wait here for Dad. Soon, they reached the fifth mountain peak. Point Tang Feng told Tang Lin and the two of them to go back and borrow Li Rao. Point this mountain is already the last one. This is the current base camp of Haitian sect. It is more than meters high and extremely cold. But how could Tang Feng not be prepared? Tang Lin and Tang Lin were already wearing thick clothes, especially Tang Xiaomi. The whole body was wrapped like a rubber ball. She was no longer as playful as before. She was hiding in Tang Lin's arms, her little face was flushed, and she was holding Tang Lin very tightly. Point after all, her father was gone, and this place was very unfamiliar to her, and she suddenly felt a little less secure. Point Tang Lin inquired carefully, and found that there were no pavilions here, but looking at it, it was a castle-like building. After all, it was the first building in the world. It was all grey, and looked like it was part of a mountain. It almost looked like a castle. It occupies the entire top of the mountain. Point today's members of the Haitian sect are all practicing hard and rarely have contact with the outside world, so no one has discovered Tang Lin until now. Point of course, the sect will still have some secret whistles, but they all recognize Tang Feng, so that's why they are like this. Not long after, Tang Feng and Li Rao also arrived. Point the family of four then headed inside the sect. Point Tang Lin felt a little emotional. Point have you finally arrived at Haitian sect? Chapter 9 Martial Soul Awakening. The huge stone building is like a fortress. The main entrance is 5 meters high. This all-stone building looks particularly solid. Above the main entrance, there are 3 powerful characters of Haoshan sect carved in stone. Tang Lin also had some expectations in his heart. Is this the Haoshan sect? When the 2 guards saw Tang Feng coming, they bowed their hands in greeting and did not dare to say anything. Tang Feng took his family directly into the Haoshan sect's gate. Haoshan sect hall. Above the hall, there was a middle-aged man sitting with a calm expression, but no anger or authority. He was Tang Ziro, the current leader of the Haoshan sect. Tang Lin was slightly touched. He didn't know whether Tang Ziro at this time had reached the level of a titled Douluo. Tang Feng's family is sitting on one side below. There was no one else in the hall. Junior brother Feng, how are you doing these days? Tang Ziro said calmly. Tang Feng was his fellow disciple, his most trustworthy brother, and the genius of the sect. It's just that Tang Feng has his own mission, so he can't return to the sect often. Everything is fine. Tang Feng smiled slightly. At the same time, she threw something small at Tang Ziro. Because she was going too fast, Li Rao and Tang Lin couldn't even see what it was. Tang Ziro took it and kept it casually and said, Junior brother Feng, do you plan to arrange for your family to live in the sect? Even if the sect leader agrees, I'm afraid many people in the clan will object. Tang Feng shook his head, shaking his head and smiling bitterly. Today is different from the past. I have the final say in Haoshan sect now. As long as my younger siblings want to stay, there is no problem. Tang Ziro responded loudly and domineeringly. Tang Feng looked at Li Rao, who shook her head. She didn't want to leave Tang Feng and live in this cold Haoshan sect. People even talked about how her life in Notting City was very good. She had her children by her side, had things to do in the tavern to keep busy, and could often see her husband Tang Feng. Seeing Li Rao's refusal, Tang Ziro said no more. Everything depends on their own wishes. One more thing here is to awaken the martial spirit for my son Tang Lin, and I will also let him practice in the Haoshan sect. Tang Feng said again. Okay, I will personally awaken the martial spirit for him tomorrow. Tang Ziro nodded, as if he was the same as before. He originally thought that Tang Feng brought his family back because he wanted them to stay, but it turned out that was the only reason. Tang Lin didn't say anything. He would wait until his martial soul awakened. He was confident that he would have enough reasons to convince his father to take him back to Notting City. Tang Feng's return to Haoshan sect was just a very common thing and did not alarm many people. Today's Haoshan sect, because of being oppressed by Wuhan Palace, everyone has the urge to practice hard and not care much about other things. The next day. Tang Ziro called Tang Feng's family of 4 to a stone room and prepared to help Tang Lin awaken his martial spirit. Tang Lin thought about many situations when he awakened his martial spirit, but he never expected that it would be such a casual and ordinary one. Under normal circumstances, the inheritance of martial spirits basically comes from the martial spirits of the parents. For example, the direct disciples of the Haoshan sect basically inherit the Haoshan hammer, which is recognized as the first martial spirit in the Soul Master world, and is also known as the best martial spirit in the world. However, some will mutate. For example, the martial spirit of Master Uzziah Gang. The master is a direct disciple of the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex family of the last 3 sects. Logically speaking, the martial soul should be inherited from the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex, who is known as the best beast martial spirit in the world. But when his martial soul awakened, his martial soul mutated and turned into a little fat pig. The master also became the laughing stock of many people. In fact, when a martial spirit mutates, it does not necessarily mutate in a bad direction. There is also a kind of mutation that is for the better, such as mutating from a pheasant martial spirit to a top-notch beast martial spirit, a phoenix martial spirit, etc. So Tang Lin now has expectations and worries in his heart. He hopes that his martial spirit will be the clear sky hammer, but he is worried that the martial spirit will mutate, especially in a bad direction. After all, he also knows that most mutated martial spirits mutate in bad directions. Tang Ziro had already placed 6 black round stones on the ground and motioned for Tang Lin to stand in. Tang Lin glanced at his parents, then took a deep breath and stood up slowly. Don't worry, just do as I say. Now close your eyes and feel carefully. Tang Zio said. Tang Lin closed his eyes. After Tang Zio summoned the martial spirit Clear Sky Hammer, 6 faint green lights were injected into the 6 black stones on the ground. Suddenly, a layer of golden brilliance was released from the 6 stones. A pale golden light shield was formed, covering Tang Lin. Tang Lin instantly felt a warm energy entering his body, making him feel extremely comfortable. Under the pull of the warm energy, he felt as if something was broken in his body, and all the warm breath rushed to his 2 palms in an instant. Stretch out your right hand. A large number of golden light spots suddenly appeared within the golden light shield, and Tang Zio and Tang Feng were immediately delighted. Because this means that a powerful martial spirit is about to appear, so they immediately determined that this martial spirit should be the Clear Sky Hammer, but soon, they were disappointed. Tang Lin opened his eyes and looked at his right hand. A black pan appeared on the palm of his hand, and he knew, should he also have a twin martial soul in his left hand? Ding, congratulations to the host for awakening the twin martial souls. Pan, car 98k to reward the host with 2 eternal diamond level lottery opportunities. Hearing the voice of the system in his mind, Tang Lin was ecstatic. These twin martial souls are such fucking magic weapons. What does this mean? It's obvious. The pan is 98k, and there is a plug-in system. This is to let me play PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on the exciting battlefield of Douluo continent. I originally wanted to find time to hook up with Tang San and practice his Zuanshan Baolu martial arts, especially the Purple Devil Pupil. It is said that when he reaches the realm of GZ, he will, but now he feels that it doesn't matter what a Purple Devil Pupil. You don't need eyesight to play esports. Okay Zio Lin, are you okay? Seeing Tang Lin standing there looking at the pan in his hand and giggling, Tang Feng thought that his son's young mind was stupid after suffering points of critical damage. So I asked quickly. After all, he kept telling Tang Lin on the way to the Clear Sky sect that he would definitely awaken the Clear Sky Hammer as a result. An ordinary scapegoat has now emerged, and my son is afraid that he will die of grief. Dad, I'm fine. I've awakened the martial spirit. I can feel its power, so I'm very happy. Tang Lin said with a mysterious smile. Mutated martial spirit Tang Feng and Tang Zio looked at each other and said in unison, they have realized it now. Judging from the golden light just now, they have undoubtedly awakened a powerful martial spirit. Now the martial spirit is not the Clear Sky Hammer but a pan, which shows that the martial spirit is not the Clear Sky Hammer but a pan. The soul has undergone some kind of mutation, and it has mutated for the better. Tang Zio looked at the black pan in Tang Lin's hand in disbelief, and the more he thought about it, the more horrified he felt. If this pan was mutated from the Clear Sky Hammer, and now it has mutated in a good direction, it means that this martial spirit is more powerful than the Clear Sky Hammer. What is the concept? But Tang Feng seemed to see Tang Zio's thinking of this. He immediately explained. His mother's martial spirit is a round bottom black pot. This means that Tang Lin's martial spirit was mutated from Li Rao's black pot. Tang Zio then exhaled, and his expression softened slightly a little. If a piece of pothead can be more powerful than their best weapon in the world, the Clear Sky Hammer, then their Clear Sky Hammer will become a joke. P.S. The collection has exceeded. This chapter is considered an additional update. There will be another chapter later. Chapter 10 and 8 Soul Power Level 2. The martial spirit has awakened. Although it is not a powerful Clear Sky Hammer, it is at least a relatively powerful martial spirit. Tang Feng's expression was not very good. After all, who doesn't want his son to have a powerful Clear Sky Hammer? Even if the mutated martial spirit becomes stronger, it will still be stronger than the best martial spirit in the world, so he has that little bit disappointed. Tang Lin didn't think so. He really liked this pan. What's the Clear Sky Hammer? If you mess with me, I'll beat you to pieces. Then it's time to test your innate soul power. Tang Zio took out a blue crystal ball at this moment, which was a tool for testing innate soul power. In fact, innate soul power is equally important. Because when everyone awakens their martial soul, in addition to the shape of the martial soul that determines whether it is powerful, the amount of innate soul power is also crucial. Everyone on Douluo continent can awaken their martial soul after the age of 6. But the vast majority of people do not have any soul power. When they awaken their martial soul point, they are destined not to become soul masters in their lifetime point. And as long as there is soul power, even just a trace, you can practice it through meditation, and then become a soul master respected by the world point. When the martial soul awakens, the amount of soul power is very important, which determines the starting level of the soul. Master's training point: the higher the innate soul power is, the faster the cultivation speed will be point at the same time. Because of the high starting point, he is already ahead of others at the starting line point. For example, Tang Lin had full innate soul power, which was the 10th level of innate soul power, already at level 10. When you first awaken, you can directly advance from soul master to soul master by hunting soul beasts. To obtain soul rings grow faster than most people. Put your hand on the crystal ball. Tang Lin had already withdrawn his martial spirit at this time. After hearing Tang Zhao's words, he obediently put his hand on the crystal ball point. As soon as he put his hand on the blue crystal ball, he felt an extremely powerful suction force, which seemed to absorb all the energy in his body. Fortunately, he had been prepared in his heart, so he did not show the slightest panic. Tang Zhao couldn't help but nodded. The blue crystal ball suddenly lit up, and the dazzling blue light spread from the first bit to star almost in the blink of an eye. The crystal ball sparkled like a brilliant gem. But it's not over yet. The faint blue light in the crystal ball gradually became thicker and finally turned into dark blue. The light illuminated the entire stone chamber. The people in the stone room feel as if they are in the boundless deep sea or above the vast blue sky. This wonderful feeling is beyond words. Tang Zhao and others were extremely surprised. The Haotian sect is the #1 sect in the world, and it has such a powerful weapon soul. So there are people in the sect who are innately full of soul power. He had also seen what the crystal ball looked like when it was tested, that the innate soul power was full. But this situation of Tang Lin was really the first time that the innate soul power was full. Tang Zhao said excitedly. The so-called innate full soul power refers to the highest soul power that can be achieved innately. When the martial soul awakens, the 10th level of soul power is the innate limit. So the innate full soul power refers to the 10th level of innate soul power. I'm also born with full soul power. Tang Lin was delighted, but thinking about it, it would be strange for his two such awesome martial arts souls not to be born with full soul power. Ding! Congratulations to the host for awakening martial soul power. If the innate soul power is level 98, he will be rewarded with an eternal diamond lottery chance. Hearing the mechanical sound of the system, Tang Lin was also shocked. He originally thought that his innate soul power was level 10, but he never expected that his innate soul power would actually be level 20. Then he saw his attribute panel. Host, Tang Lin. Martial spirit, Pan, card 20k. Soul power 10, level 89. Cooling. Exercise skill, none. Box energy 1 points. Backpack, first level space backpack, Laotan pickled cabbage noodles X, braised beef noodles X2, black telescopic mask X3, eternal diamond level lottery X98. The soul power column was marked with a 10th level cooldown. Tang Lin quickly understood that among the 20 level soul powers, 10th level soul power could only be revealed after obtaining a soul ring. In fact, innate soul power can exceed level 10. People in the world think that the highest level of innate soul power is only level 10, which is actually wrong. In the master's theory, even if your soul power reaches a bottleneck, it is not necessary to obtain a soul ring before your soul power can continue to increase. But only after obtaining the soul ring can the soul power after the bottleneck soul power be revealed. Therefore, the blue crystal used to test soul power can only test the 10th level soul power that is revealed. In addition, the soul power that cannot be revealed cannot be tested. This is also the main reason why people believe that innate full soul power is only at level 10. In fact, Douluo continent also has a person with level innate soul power, but others don't know it. That is the daughter of Bibidang, the current Pope of Wuhan Palace, Kyan Ringsu. That's because her martial spirit is an angel martial spirit inherited from the angel god. It should be impossible for my martial spirit to be comparable to the martial spirit Pan inherited by the angel god. At most, it can reach the level of the clear sky hammer. That is, K. This kind of martial spirit should be the first time to appear in Douluo continent. Tang Lin thought excitedly. The martial soul is like a frying pan, but I didn't expect that the soul power is actually full of innate soul power, Tang Ziro said excitedly. Uncle Tang Ziro, my martial spirit is not called a pan, it is called Haoshan pot. It is the combination of my father and mother's martial arts. Tang Lin was not happy at that time, put his hands on his waist, and explained quickly. Are you kidding me? I'm afraid people will laugh to death if I say this about pan. Tang Feng and Tang Ziro must be corrected. Haoshan pan. That's right, Tang Lin said innocently. The two shook their heads helplessly and smiled, but when they thought of Tang Lin's dazzling black pan, they felt that what Tang Lin said made sense. Innately full of soul power, Ziro Lin is undoubtedly a genius. I'm afraid his achievements in the future will be no less than mine. Tang Ziro laughed. The sect master praised him in front of him. I'm afraid he will become proud. Tang Feng looked helpless, but in fact he was secretly happy. It is true that a person with innate soul power is a genius, but there are many people with innate soul power on the road, and they may not necessarily be able to reach the realm of title Douluo. So the most important thing is to see whether you work hard or not. And my son happens to be the kind of person who works hard. So he was very happy and looked forward to his son reaching a state that was unreachable by the world. Dad, don't worry, humility makes people progress, but pride will make people fall behind. My son will work hard and won't be proud. Tang Lin looked serious. Tang Feng's response. Tang Lin knows that Douluo continent is also a world that depends on strength. If you don't practice hard and don't have enough strength to deal with danger when it comes, the final result will probably be dismal. So what he said was equivalent to reminding himself not to be proud or to drift away. As for his second martial soul, he would not let others know about it at present, not even his parents. After all, he didn't know how to explain his second martial spirit to his parents. So in the future, just try not to show it in front of your parents. After hearing Tang Lin's words, Tang Feng and Li Rao were very pleased. Their son understood these principles at a young age, and they were very satisfied. Tang Ziro sighed in his heart. Why didn't he have such a son? The martial soul awakening was over here, and then Tang Feng happily took his wife and children to visit other places in the Haoshan sect. Looking at the eternal diamond prize drawer in his backpack, Tang Lin resisted and did not take it. Chapter 11. Room. Ziro Lin, are you willing to stay in Haoshan sect to practice? Tang Feng said. Although he knew that Tang Lin was unwilling, he still wanted to try. I don't want to. Tang Lin answered directly without thinking. He now knows that even if he stays, his mother will not stay. So he was even more unwilling to stay in the sect. You have to know that if you practice in a sect, there will be professional people to teach you how to practice. There will also be trustworthy clan members of the same age to accompany you as you grow. There are also many cultivation methods, various systems, mechanisms, etc. that are definitely not found in other places. And when hunting soul beasts, people from the sect will hunt with you, which is very safe. Here, you can grow up faster. And outside the sect, you may not find people like the sect. Partners who are as trustworthy as brothers in the sect. Dad can't always be with you, and you may even encounter danger when hunting soul beasts. Have you ever thought about this? On the way to the sect from Notting City, Tang Feng told Tang Lin a lot about soul beasts and soul masters on the road of future growth. A person's strength is not true strength. You need a few trustworthy partners to be able to go higher and further. Dad, I didn't think so much. But if it's just for cultivation, I need to be separated from you. I can't do it. Cultivation is very important, but I think being with family and friends is more important. The reason why Tang Lin always wanted to part of the important reason for practicing to become stronger is to be able to protect your family in the future. Because he knew that in the future Wuhan Palace would declare war with the two empires, and the war would continue, and the dangers would continue. Even powerful family clans like the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex would be wiped out. So, if you want to survive, you have to become stronger. As for hugging the protagonist Tang San's thigh, and so on. Is he, Tang Lin, that kind of person? Well, he has no system. Before he awakened his martial spirit, he did. But now he doesn't even bother to hug other people's lap. He also wants to become a strong man, but he will not abandon his roots to pursue his inferiors and separate from his family like this for the sake of cultivation. Besides, being in the sect is really better than being outside. For many people, this may be true, but for him, it can only be said that each has its own merits. It is even better to practice outside than in the sect. After all, he has a system. He needs to lick the box to get Tang Lin's reply. Tang Feng also thought about it seriously. After all, Tang Lin is still young now, only 6 years old. How could he be willing to leave his parents? Perhaps it would be better to wait until he grows up. Thinking of this, he decided not to worry about this issue anymore. So he nodded and said, okay, since you don't want to, forget it. You are practicing wherever you go, just work hard. If you want to come back in the future, just come back. Tang Lin was a little surprised. He originally thought that he would have to spend more money. It took the power of 2 tigers to convince his father. I didn't expect that my father would be persuaded so easily today. It seems that my father is reluctant to be separated from his cute and handsome boy. Haotian sect meeting hall. A group of people were talking about Tang Lin's genealogy. Tang Lin was opposed by many tribesmen because his martial spirit was a frying pan instead of the clear sky hammer in the hall. Everyone was talking about it for a while. Haha, it's a pothead for cooking. It's ridiculous that such a useless martial soul wants to enter the family tree of my Haotian clan. Tang Feng, don't want your useless son to enter the family tree of our Haotian clan. He doesn't even have a token of our Haotian sect. He doesn't even have the Haotian hammer inherited by our Haotian sect. I'm afraid it's really not possible to enter the family tree. Sect master, I object. Returning the Haotian cauldron is obviously made by the useless martial spirit. He came from mutation, but he was named Haotian. It's simply ridiculous. Martial soul pan. Tang Feng, only you can give birth to such a son. They didn't care about Tang Feng and Tang Lin at all. Still present, some people even made sarcastic remarks. Although the sect leader Tang Zhao wanted to help, he was somewhat powerless after all. He alone does not have the final say in this sect, especially matters such as entering the genealogy, and he alone cannot have the final say. Seeing Tang Zhao's dilemma, Tang Feng sighed helplessly. He had sacrificed so much for his sect, but no one appreciated it. In the end, his son couldn't even enter the family tree. Sad, disappointed dad, it doesn't matter whether you enter the family tree or not, don't sigh. From now on, as long as our family is together, it will be fine. Tang Lin looked at his words and immediately comforted his father. These people attach too much importance to the inheritance of the clear sky hammer and do not want anyone without the clear sky hammer spirit to appear among the direct disciples of the clear sky sect. To be honest, Tang Lin wasn't interested in this. It's just that his father works for the sect and he rarely has time to spend with his children and wives. Not many of them are willing to appreciate it, and they even laugh at him. This made him a little unhappy. Well, since some people disagree, then my son Tang Lin will not be included in the family tree. Tang Feng glanced at Tang Lin, then looked at everyone, and said in a deep voice, Junior brother Feng, I'm sorry, I couldn't help you. Tang Zhao apologized deeply for this. Tang Feng shook his head helplessly. He couldn't be blamed for this. If you don't let me enter the family tree now, even if you beg me to join in the future, I won't join. Tang Lin also had a temper and thought to himself. The meeting ended and everyone left. However, there was a man in his 30s who mocked Tang Feng again before leaving. Tang Feng, you know the current affairs. Do you regret now that we advised you not to marry that kind of dirty woman, but you just didn't listen? Look at your son now. I'm afraid you don't. Do you know if he is your own child? Ha. The man deliberately spoke louder so that the people in front could hear him. They couldn't help but shake their heads. They didn't know whether they regretted Tang Feng's original decision or were disappointed with the person who spoke. If you say these words in front of me 10 years later, you will most likely be beaten to death by me. You only regret that I'm too young now and am no match for you. Tang Lin couldn't help roaring any longer. Tang Lin clenched his fists hard, his eyes full of murderous intent, and his voice was neither loud nor quiet, just enough for everyone in the hall to hear. Tang Lin knew that there was no practical use in saying such angry words, But when he heard this person talking about his parents like this, how could he bear it? Now he finally knew why his mother didn't want to stay in the sect. There is such a disgusting person. He will not stay. You're rude, someone said. Ha 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 ha. Yes, yes, my Tang Feng's son is indeed bloody. Tang Feng was not angry, but laughed. Yes, this guy has some backbone. Some people nodded to Tang Lin in approval. You're just a useless martial soul. Who gave you the confidence to do so in 10 years? What can you do, even if I give you 20 or 30 years? Do you think you are great, because you are born with full soul power? The man said disdainfully. Yes, being born with full soul power is nothing special, just like you. You think so, Tang Senator? Tang Feng glanced at him at this time and sneered. Tang Lin was a little surprised. He didn't expect that this man named Tang Sen was actually born in the Haoshan sect with full soul power. Sure enough, crouching tiger, hidden dragon, Tang Feng, what did you say? Tang Sen suddenly became angry and pressed towards Tang Feng with an aura. Tang Sen, I have tolerated you several times just to care about my fellow students. But I didn't expect you to go further every time. Today you still talked about his mother in front of my son. As Tang Feng spoke every word, a surge of momentum came from him. His body spurted out and instantly annihilated Tang Sen's momentum. How are you doing? Tang Sen was not surprised. Instead, he raised the corner of his mouth and said mockingly, see you at the sect's martial arts training ground. Tang Feng said without saying anything, and took Tang Lin directly out of the hall and towards the martial arts training ground. Chapter 12 Tang Feng vs. Tang Sen. See you at the Zhangmen martial arts training ground. After hearing Tang Feng's words, Tang Zhao felt helpless, but he didn't stop him. The Haoshan sect is like this. If anything can be solved with force, use force to solve it. Whoever has the biggest fist is the father. After the simple and rude Tang Feng walked out of the hall, Tang Sen was a little surprised. Where did Tang Feng get the confidence to challenge him to a duel? Tang Sen was the best among the second generation disciples, of course. It still cannot be compared with the two sons of the previous sect leader, Tang Hao and Tang Zhao. But among the second generation disciples, apart from these two people, not many could compete with him. Although Tang Feng was considered a genius, he didn't take Tang Feng seriously at all. Tang Feng was no match for him 2 years ago. In the past 2 years, he had been practicing hard and seriously in Haoshan sect, while Tang Feng seemed to be running around for the sect and had little time to practice. So why should he compete with him? Tang Sen couldn't figure it out. But Tang Feng said he wanted to fight him, which was exactly what he wanted. Martial arts training ground. Many tribesmen have gathered around to watch the show. Not many of them were optimistic about Tang Feng, but they admired Tang Feng's courage. Tang Feng, I don't know what the point of doing this is, but now I kind of admire your courage. Tang Sen clasped his fists and sneered with a condescending look. In the past, he laughed at Tang Feng, who didn't dare to say any nonsense, but today he has a bit of backbone. Because of his strength, he never thought that Tang Feng tolerated him because he cared about his fellow students. He only thought that Tang Feng was afraid of him. Tang Sen, I've said it before. I've tolerated you several times just to care about my fellow students. But today you went too far. You talked about his mother in front of my son. Even my 6-year-old son can't stand it. If as a father, if I don't show any expression, wouldn't I let my son look down on me? So, it is inevitable for you and me to fight. If I, Tang Feng, lose, whatever you want to say in the future will be your business, and I will listen. Gone. Tang Feng stood with his hands behind his back, his robes windless. If I lose, I won't say another word in the future. Tang Sen also showed off his momentum and said with a smile. The war is about to break out, and the audience's emotions are already rising. No, if you lose, you should apologize to my parents. But at this moment, a milky voice instantly broke the atmosphere. Tang Lin was not in a beautiful mood at the moment, but everyone felt that what Tang Lin said made sense. Tang Sen's face was a bit ugly. After thinking about it, he looked up at Tang Feng and said, if I lose, I can apologize to you, but it is absolutely impossible for me to apologize to that woman, because she doesn't deserve it. Li Rao is just an ordinary person. The woman is not even a soul master. Why should he, a powerful soul saint, apologize? Tang Feng's eyes narrowed. Tang Sen became more and more arrogant. One day, I will make you apologize to my mother in person. Tang Lin stared at Tang Sen and swore secretly in his heart. It's still a question of strength. If my father is a titled Douluo, or if he only needs to have stronger soul power than him, he still dares to say that I will work hard to practice in the future. That's it. Let's start, Tang Zio said directly. Tang Sen, Wuhan Hei Ocean Hammer. Level 79 Weapon Soul Saint, please give me some advice. Tang Sen smiled at the corner of his mouth and released his Wuhan and said proudly. In fact, now they no longer need to make such boring introductions before starting the fight. But he still wanted to show off his strength in public, and he also wanted to make Tang Feng look embarrassed. Wow, Tang Sen has reached level 79. He is indeed a genius. I'm afraid Tang will be unlucky. Impulse is the devil. Tang Feng should regret it now. Alas, they are all elites of the sect. Why do you think they are doing this? Woo. The audience at the training ground immediately became excited when they heard that Tang Sen had reached level 79 soul power. Tang Feng, Wuhan Hei Ocean Hammer. Level 72 Weapon Soul Saint, please advise. Tang Feng also showed his Wuhan and introduced. What? Tang Feng already had level 70 soul power 2 years ago. Why is he only at level 72 soul power now? Tang Sen raised his soul power to 6 levels in less than 2 years, while Tang Feng only raised 2 levels. Sure enough, the further you go, the harder it gets. Can you tell who is the real genius? I heard that when you reach the realm of Soul Saint, every level of soul power is a huge gap. It seems that Tang Feng is going to be abused. You have really improved in the past 2 years. Quite a few, Tang Sen immediately said sarcastically when he heard Tang Feng's soul power level. I have indeed made a lot of progress in the past 2 years, Tang Feng said. As he said that, he suddenly disappeared on the spot, and the next moment the pitch black clear sky hammer appeared behind Tang Sen, turning directly towards Tang Sen. He didn't use any soul skills. He just wanted to use the most basic form of the clear sky hammer to have a pure strength confrontation with Tang Sen and test his strength. Tang Sen raised the corners of his mouth, swung the clear sky hammer as well, turned around and headed towards Tang Feng hammer. Tang Feng's speed just now seemed to many people to be very fast, but in his eyes it was simply too slow, so he dealt with it very calmly. Bang, the 2 clear sky hammers collided, causing the 2 of them to retreat a few steps each. Tang Feng took 8 or 9 steps further than Tang Senator. After all, there was such a gap in soul power between them. Tang Sen didn't expect that Tang Feng actually wanted to compete with him for strength. If he used soul skills, he might have a chance, but he dared to actively compete with him when his soul power was 7 levels lower. Isn't this an egg against a stone? He moved his feet, and his whole body. Tang Feng jumped into the air, holding the clear sky hammer in both hands, and hammering it directly towards the ground. Since you want to compete with me in strength, then I will use my absolute strength to subdue you. Tang Feng did not show weakness, and also jumped into the air to receive the attack. Boom. The 2 clear sky hammers collided again, making a loud noise, followed by waves of energy that could destroy the world. Before, it was just a test. This time, they had begun to exert force. This hammer was the same as the first one. Hammer is not a concept at all. If the martial arts training ground were not large enough and the people in the sect were all powerful masters, I'm afraid that some people would have been blown away by this force. That violent energy frightened many 3rd generation disciples. Tang Feng and the 2 were already so powerful without even using soul skills. What was the concept of using soul skills? But what surprised them even more was that Tang Feng and the 2 were already so powerful without even using soul skills. Feng was actually able to confront Tang Sen head on, and the 2 momentums were still confronting each other. Ha, I underestimated you. Tang Sen's expression changed slightly in the air, and he gritted his teeth, and said with a smile. But I won't underestimate you, Tang Feng said. Then the 2 fell down and stood quietly, looking at each other. HMPH, even though you are a lot stronger, you are still useless in the face of absolute strength. If you had a few more levels of soul power, maybe I really wouldn't be your match. But the gap between you and me is too big now. You can't win. Tang Sen said, and a powerful energy was released, directly pressing towards Tang Feng. Momentum was also very important in the duel between forces. Although Tang Feng was not weak, he also had absolute confidence point. Although they had only passed 2 moves so far, they were constantly fighting with each other in terms of momentum. Tang Sen began to frown. He found that no matter how much pressure he exerted, he could not suppress Tang Feng. He felt that Tang Feng's soul power was like the thick earth. No matter how much force he used, he could not suppress him. How could this happen? Do you think? Is the strength of soul power only related to the amount of soul power? Tang Feng grinned. The strength of the soul power is indeed directly related to the amount, but the solidification and purity of the soul power is also crucial. Tang Feng's energy spread from his feet to his waist, and then to his arms, forming a perfect curve. The clear sky hammer in his hand was already buzzing. After he finished speaking, he shouted loudly, exerted force on his legs, waist, and arms for a moment, raised the hammer, and ran towards Tang Senator. Along the way, bang stabla, the extremely hard floor of the martial arts training ground was easily broken by him. Facing Tang Feng, who was rushing towards him, Tang Sen was actually a little frightened. He never expected that Tang Feng, who had level 72 soul power, could actually such great pressure could be given to him with level 79 soul power. In the blink of an eye, a big pit appeared on the floor in front of him. Tang Feng had already jumped into the air and hit him directly with a huge hammer. Why was Tang Feng so fast all of a sudden? Tang Sen quickly jumped into the air to catch the ball. Bang! When they met, he was directly knocked down by Tang Feng's hammer, and it hit the ground deeply. The floor is thick dust. Tang Sen was defeated in 3 moves. Everyone on the field was stunned. Chapter 13 Apologize. Many people on the field did not expect that Tang Feng was so powerful, which made them get to know Tang Feng again from the bottom of their hearts on the field. Tang Sen was not actually injured. But now he is angry. I have been training hard for 2 years, but in the end I can't even compare to Tang Feng. He only has level 72 soul power. If he is also level 79, then I will be pressed to the ground and rubbed by him. The more I think about it, the more reluctant I'm to have 7 souls at my feet. The ring suddenly flashed. The 3rd soul skill, Hammer of Fury. Tang Sen shouted. The real battle has just begun. The strength of a soul master mainly relies on soul skills. Most of the reasons why a soul master is powerful also come from soul skills and the use of soul skills. If there is only soul power, but no soul skills, then the soul master will be useless. Equivalent to a tiger without teeth. Therefore, fighting using soul skills is the real battle between soul masters, and it can better demonstrate the strength of soul masters. The strength of soul skills depends on 3 factors. One is the strength of the soul master's soul power. The second is the year of the soul ring obtained. But if one has a 9-4-year-old soul ring, and the other has a 1-8-year-old soul ring, then the 7th soul skills of the 2 will be obviously strong and weak. Another important factor is a soul ring obtained type. For example, the soul ring of the 72-year-old powerful soul beast Titan Giant Ape is more powerful than the soul rings of many ordinary 79-year-old soul beasts. The soul skills obtained by absorbing the soul rings of powerful soul beasts are naturally also powerful. I think it's like this. Are you serious? Hahaha. Then let's have a fun battle. Tang Feng laughed as the 7 soul rings on his body appeared around him. Judging from the test just now, he already knew the gap between his level 72 soul power and Tang Sen's level soul power as he thought. The difference was not very big. Therefore, when he used soul skills to fight, he was not vain at all. Bang, bang, bang. The 2 of them fought more and more bravely on the martial arts training field. No one surrendered to the other, and the fight was hearty. The surroundings were filled with 2 powerful forces. With the energy, every time the 2 soul skills were used, the earth shook and the mountain shook. Even some elders and clansmen who were practicing hard in the sect were also alarmed. Could someone attack our Haoshan sect? Tang Lin and the audience very surprised. Is dad so strong? After knowing Tang Sen's soul power, he was worried that dad would lose too quickly. But I didn't expect that my father not only didn't lose, but now he was evenly matched with Tang Senator. Tang Feng, I didn't expect that your soul power has not grown long in the past 2 years, but you have become a lot stronger, Tang Sen said. For 2 years, you have been practicing hard in the Haoshan sect. How much do you know about what I have done outside, and what I have experienced? Tang Feng said in a deep voice. For 2 years, he had to hide his identity outside, and work for the sect. When faced with danger, he sometimes even couldn't use the clear sky hammer. Moreover, he also had to face the pursuit of the Wuhan Palace and the enemies of the Haoshan sect. He did not have much time to practice peacefully, but precisely because of this, he became better at fighting, and his soul power was polished and solidified. Reality. Listening to Tang Feng's words, Tang Sen was touched in his heart. He originally thought that Tang Feng was living a happy and prosperous life with his wife and children outside, so he had always looked down on Tang Feng, but now he knew that he might have been wrong. Ha 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 ha, Tang Feng, you did teach me a lesson today. I'm very grateful to you. But after today, I will become stronger and my strength will slowly sublimate. So today's battle is between us. This is the last chance for the two of them to fight. Let's do our best. The 7th soul skill, Haoshan's incarnation. Tang Feng could understand what he meant. Tang Sen now knows why his level, soul power is no match for him. With his cultivation talent, his strength will probably continue to improve in the future, and the two of them will go further and further away from each other in the future. But Tang Feng smiled. Tang Sen probably believed that it was because he had only raised 2 levels of soul power in the past 2 years, so he concluded that it would be difficult for him to break through to the Contra realm in his lifetime. That's why I dare to say such things from this. It seems that he is still very arrogant and still likes to look down on others, but it doesn't matter. One day, I will teach him the 7th soul skill, Haoshan incarnation again. Tang Feng didn't say much. What, if he wants to fight, just fight with him. Tang Lin started to feel a little nervous. This is not a mortal feud. Is it necessary to be so cruel? The 7th soul skill is no joke. If you are not careful, you may be seriously injured for months or even years. Okay. Fortunately, just when they were about to fight for the final time, a deep and incomparable voice spread throughout the martial arts field. Even Haoshan. A person suddenly appeared between the two of them in the clan. A soft and powerful force directly interrupted the two of them, causing them to stop and take action very casually. In a simple sentence, his strength. It has been revealed that the strength of Sect Master Tang Sen and Tang Feng is far superior to that of Soul Saint. They both said in awe at the same time. It was Tang Zhao, the leader of the Haoshan sect. Members of the Haoshan sect can spar, but they cannot fight. Our enemy of the Haoshan sect is the Wuhan Palace, and they are definitely not brothers of the sect. Tang Zhao also saw that the two of them were fighting each other. The consequences of this development would be unimaginable, so we took action decisively. As the sect master, how could he let 2 elite disciples of the sect do this in front of his eyes? Yes, sect master. When Tang Sen faced Tang Zhao, he had no intention of disobeying him. He looked at Tang Feng and sighed again. It's just that I'm afraid it will be difficult to have the opportunity to compete with Tang Feng clan brothers in the future. There will always be such opportunities, Tang Feng said with a smile. HMPH. Tang Sen said disdainfully. Tang Sen. Tang Feng is running around for the sect outside and is often hunted by Haoshan sect enemies such as Wuhan Palace, but you are practicing comfortably in the sect. What qualifications do you have to make irresponsible remarks to him? What qualifications do you have to insult him and his family? Tang Zhao was really disappointed to see that Tang Sen was still so arrogant, so Chuan educated him. Besides, his level, soul power can tie you. Where did you get it now? Superiority when it comes to geniuses. Tang Zhao and Tang Hao are the most geniuses among their generation of disciples, especially Tang Hao, who had reached the realm of title Douluo 2 years ago, and now, Tang Zhao seemed to have reached this realm, and even they were not proud of him. Tang Zhao's words made him wake up for a moment, and he gradually lowered his head. Yes, Tang Feng is younger than himself, and his soul power talent is not as good as his own, but now he can fight with himself. Until now, it is really amazing. Tang Sen raised his head and announced loudly. Although he has a good face, he is not the kind of person who cannot afford to lose. Tang Feng, I'm sorry. He bent his head very low and apologized sincerely. I had a prejudice against you before, and I relied on being older than you. It's my fault to make irresponsible remarks and insult you. Tang Xiao nodded slightly after seeing this. Okay. Tang Feng responded to him lightly, then turned to Tang Xiao, gave him a fist salute, and said, "Sect Master, then I will leave first." To be honest, Tang Feng saw his sincere apology. I was also a little surprised but he had no intention of apologizing to his wife, so there was no need to give him a good look in the room. It hurts so much. Rah, please be gentle, Tang Feng screamed in pain while lying on the bed. How can you be a hero if you don't have the strength? What's wrong with asking him to say a few words? You deserve it, Li Rao said angrily as she was applying lotion to Tang Feng's wound, saying this made her feel warm in her heart. Hey, who knew he had such high soul power? Chapter 14, Absorb Soul Bones, and Enter the Star Forest. Tang Lin was holding Xiao Mi in the living room. The floor was too cold, so Tang Lin didn't let her play on the floor, which made her pout all the time and look unhappy. Tang Lin didn't bother to pay attention to her. He was now concerned about his father in the room. Although his father's injury was not serious, it was definitely more serious than that of Tang Senator. Tang Sen admitted that he lost and didn't come to apologize to his mother. He couldn't help but clench his fists tightly. Jedge, when are we going home? Xiao Mi misses Xiao Hei. Xiao Mi wants to hug Xiao Hei. Tang Xiao Mi felt more and more bored and looked very aggrieved and a little sad. Tang Lin's face suddenly turned black. Our dad has been beaten like this, and you actually think about that, Xiao Hei? Are you innocent or heartless? But he loves this sister very much, so he still gently comforted her. When dad has a good rest, we can go home. Xiao Mi, be good. Yeah. Okay, Xiao Mi, be good. Tang Xiao Mi was kissed by her brother, and her heart suddenly became happy. She also kissed her brother on the face. She learned it in a very good way. In fact, Tang Lin wanted to go home more than she did. He was unfamiliar with the place. He hadn't licked a single box in 2 days. He looked at the things in his backpack. Backpack, External Soul Bone Level 1 Space Backpack, Eternal Diamond Level Lottery X3. He had wanted to absorb that External Soul Bone before, but he couldn't. Now that his martial soul has awakened, he wants to try again. As for the opportunity to draw the Eternal Diamond Level Lottery, he doesn't want to use it yet. To be safe, he will praise it 10 times before drawing. Now let's see if this External Soul Bone can be absorbed. External Soul Bones are the most special and rarest of soul bones. Its status in the Soul Master world is second only to the 100,000 year soul ring, and it ranks second on the Soul Master's dream list. The most special thing about External Soul Bones is that they will evolve as the Soul Master's soul power increases. So the sooner you absorb the External Soul Bone, the better. But he was also a little nervous. Because the absorption conditions of the External Soul Bone are very harsh, it is necessary to absorb the soul ring of the soul beast that dropped this soul bone, and the soul ring must be absorbed first before the soul bone can be absorbed. But after thinking about it, he was determined. After all, this is a product of the system, so this soul bone should be absorbable. But now he has not absorbed the first soul ring, and he doesn't know whether it can be absorbed. Mom has helped dad deal with the wound at this time, and dad has also gone to rest. Tang Lin directly threw his sister to his mother and went to his room and closed the door. With a thought, a backpack-shaped soul bone emitting a grey-white luster appeared in his hand. Tang Lin knew the method of absorbing soul bones, and he had asked his father before, so he knew what to do. Close your eyes and run your soul power. The soul bone in your hand is gradually covered by his soul power. Tang Lin can now feel the energy fluctuations emitted by the soul bone. The corners of his mouth moved slightly. It seems that absorbing soul bones after awakening soul power is different. I'm afraid that he can really absorb it. Then he began to absorb soul bones according to the known method. The soul bone on his hand was already emitting a bright light, and it was even more dazzling at this moment. A stream of unknown energy was fully transmitted from his hands into his body. Tang Lin did not dare to be careless at all, and was very serious. He did not miss a single bit of the energy, and absorbed it all into his body. Time passed by minute. Tang Lin's sweat dripped from his head, not because he encountered too much difficulty in absorbing, but because it consumed a lot of energy to keep absorbing like this. The soul bone on his hand gradually shrank and became lighter. This shocked him. Li Rao thought Tang Lin was sleeping and resting, so she did not come in to disturb her and took Xiaomi to coax her to take a nap. 2 hours passed. The soul bone in Tang Lin's hand had disappeared, leaving only a faint ball of energy light. Who exhaled. Tang Lin opened his eyes and grinned. The external soul bone was finally absorbed. There was a hot feeling on his back, but it was not particularly uncomfortable. With a thought, the external soul bone appeared. At this moment, he was like carrying a small school bag, like a first grade elementary school student. He could feel that the backpack had a very large space, and there was also a second form. Tang Lin continued to study the function of the backpack. 2 days passed in a flash. Tang Feng's injury was much better. Tang Xiaomi didn't like staying here, and he had nothing to do here, so he planned to leave immediately. After coming to Tang Xiao's room and saying hello to him, Tang Feng left Haoshan sect with his family. Notting City, in the tavern. Uncle, is this really Tang Lin's home? Why isn't he here? Liang Yi asked unhappily. Since the last time he had fun with Tang Lin in the slaughterhouse, he hasn't seen Tang Lin for more than a month, and he has been depressed all day. His father didn't have time to take care of him, and the housekeeper Liang Bo couldn't stand it and took him to find Tang Lin, but he never saw Tang Lin's family, so he came to his tavern every day. Master, his home is here. It's just that they seem to have left Notting City for something. We'll come back tomorrow and maybe they'll be back. Liang Bo said. Hey, it seems someone is coming to their house. Liang Bo was shaking his head and sighing when he suddenly saw a carriage parked in front of Tang Lin's gate. Tang Lin is back. I want to go play with him. Liang Yi immediately smiled and ran over. Tang Lin's family finally returned home. Tang Xiaomi was so happy that she jumped off Tang Feng and ran to the yard to play with Xiao Hei. Xiao Lin, let's go to the Xingdao Great Forest now and try to get the spirit ring as soon as possible. Tang Feng said. Okay. Tang Lin also wanted to get the spirit ring as soon as possible. At this time, Tang Xiaomi was only busy playing with Xiao Hei, and they just left quietly. Tang Lin, a familiar voice made Tang Lin turn around. Xiao Yi, what are you doing here? Come to play with you, to be honest. Tang Lin was a little confused. It seems that he is waiting for me at my door. He knows that Liang Yi is an introverted person. He doesn't have many friends and playmates. Now he finally has one, which makes him cherish it, but there is no need to be so serious. My father and I have something to do before leaving Notting City. I will go to your house to play with you next time I come back. Tang Lin said. Oh, Liang Yi said with some grievance. Tang Lin went over and patted his shoulder and whispered to him, didn't you also awaken your martial spirit? Then practice well and wait for me to come back and compete. The slaughterhouse is a good place to lick the box. Even if he doesn't come to find Tang Lin will find a way to find him when the time comes. Speaking of practice, Liang Yi is also a little confused. Poor Liang Yi still doesn't know what it means to practice in the Stardao Great Forest. After a long journey, Tang Lin's physical fitness has become stronger, and now he has finally arrived at the Stardao Great Forest on the border of the empire with his father. Dad started his daily chatter again. The Xingdao Great Forest is one of the 3 most famous soul beast settlements in Douluo continent. Its area is so large that it is almost equal to the land area of the Kingdom of Berak, a vassal state of the Xiandao Empire, and it spans the borders of the Xiandao Empire and the Xingluo Empire. 2/5 of the area is in the Xiandao Empire, and the other 3/5 is in the Xingluo Empire. This is a huge primeval forest with complex terrain, including wetlands, swamps, cliffs, etc. The soul beasts here are also extremely terrifying. The closer to the center of the forest, the stronger the soul beasts are. There are even 100,000-year-old soul beasts in it. Dad, I dare not go too deep. Tang Lin had already become a little impatient. Dad, can you tell me something I don't know? Isn't what you said nonsense? Even titled Douluo dare not approach the center of the Xingdao Great Forest, let alone a soul saint. As Tang Feng introduced, the two had gradually entered the Xingdao Great Forest. It was Tang Lin's first time here. He was curious and his eyes rolled around, observing everywhere. Stay closer to me. The Xingdao Great Forest is not a place to play around. There are many soul beasts here, and they are very aggressive. Those soul beasts have no good feelings towards us humans. Dad, I know. In such a dangerous place, Tang Lin didn't dare to run around. He followed his father closely and began to look forward to encountering some soul beasts. Don't think that's just an ordinary bamboo. It's called a sword bamboo. It's a soul beast. Although it's very weak, you will still get hurt if you are not careful. Tang Feng pointed to an inconspicuous little bamboo in front of him. Tang Lin estimated that his understanding of soul beasts was almost comparable to that of his father, so he knew all the soul beasts that his father talked about along the way. What he lacked now was only experience. Lin, when you enter this kind of forest in the future, don't kill those soul beasts indiscriminately. We just need to find the soul beasts we need and kill them to get soul rings. The soul beasts here are not friendly to humans, mostly because soul masters kill innocent people here. And anyway, you just need to remember what your father said. Of course, for those who actively attack you, it's another matter. I know, Dad. Finally, a 100-year level soul beast appeared in front of them. Tang Feng immediately pulled Tang Lin to stop and approached lightly. It's a civet cat. It should be more than 200 or almost 300 years old. Lin, what do you think of it? Tang Feng asked. Too ugly, not cute at all. Looking at the fierce look of the civet cat, Tang Lin pouted and said in a baby voice. Who asked you if it's cute? I asked you how about using it as your first soul ring. I don't think it's good. My frying pan is very powerful. It must be a powerful soul beast. If there is a Titan giant ape, it would be the best. Tang Lin said in a serious manner. Tang Feng turned his head and looked over, as if he was looking at a mentally retarded child. Titan giant ape, what do you want? Hehe, Dad, I'm kidding, but this soul beast is really not suitable for me. I need a strong power or defense soul. Tang Lin touched his head and smiled. Okay, let's keep looking. As expected of the Stardao Great Forest, it can be said that there are soul beasts everywhere, and there are soul beasts of all ages and types. Soon, Tang Lin saw a huge 100-year-old soul beast appear in front of him. The iron-armored giant Lynxy soul beast is exactly one of the best choices for his ideal first soul ring. Tang Lin immediately stretched out his little hand, pulling his dad's pants, while pointing at the soul beast. He looked very excited. Dad, it's it. That's it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15. The Soul Beast box smells so good. This is an armored giant spirit rhinoceros that is about 400 years old. It has excellent strength and defense. Son, you are really lucky. Tang Feng's eyes also lit up. However, he was suddenly a little worried. His son was only 6 years old. Whether he could absorb a 400-year-old spirit ring. Seeing his father's worry, Tang Lin said, Dad, are you worried that I can't absorb the spirit ring of a 400-year-old spirit beast? Absorb the spirit ring. Age has a certain relationship with physical fitness, so I think I can absorb it. Tang Feng thought for a while. His son's physical fitness is indeed very good now. There should be no problem, and he is watching from the side. It doesn't matter if there is anything wrong. Handle. Okay, then just lie down here and don't move. Dad will come as soon as he goes. Whoosh. After Tang Feng finished speaking, he turned into a figure and flew away. Why? Are you kidding me? When your father told me to lie down here? Am I the kind of coward? Bang, bang, roar and bang. In just a few seconds, the giant rhinoceros screamed and fell to the ground almost instantly. Tang Feng fell to the ground. Facing a soul saint. It has no power to fight back. It regrets so much that it disobeyed its mother and ran out to wander around blindly. Smash, what are you doing lying there? Come over quickly and kill it to get the soul ring. Tang Feng looked at his son who was lying motionless on the ground and chuckled. Oh, here we come. Tang Lin quickly got up, pulled out the small dagger his father gave him for self-defense, ran over with his short legs, and stabbed the soul beast. Ho ho ho. The soul beast screamed miserably a few times, almost crying without tears. Lin, why did you stab it in the butt? Stab it in the head. Damn it, it turned out that it was stabbed in the wrong place. No wonder it didn't die. The scream was so miserable. Rhinoceros, I'm sorry for making you suffer. I will put you out of the sea of suffering right now. This giant rhinoceros was covered in grey and black, and was so big that Tang Lin didn't notice where its head was just now. Now that he had found his head, Tang Lin focused on his throat. Just go with the knife. Stab. The giant rhinoceros screamed, and lost its breath. Ding, the host has completed the first kill, and will be rewarded with an eternal diamond level lottery. The host has killed the century-old spirit beast for the first time, and will be rewarded with an eternal diamond level lottery. Immediately afterwards Tang Lin found a light yellow wooden box next to the giant rhinoceros carcass, emitting a light yellow light. Flickering in front of his eyes, the box changed from green to yellow now. It seemed that boxes were also divided into different levels. He looked at his father again, and saw that he couldn't see the box either. Tang Lin felt relieved. He put his hand on the box, and an inventory immediately appeared in front of him. It was like a game of chicken. Looking at the items in the inventory, Tang Lin was already extremely excited. Is this the box of the soul beast? It smells so good. No matter how many things there are, Tang Lin kept pulling the items in the inventory into his backpack, and the system kept prompting him. Ding, the box licking was successful. Congratulations to the host for getting 404 box energy points, a 404-year spirit ring, 3 pieces of Lynxy inner armor, a piece of Lynxy heavy armor, and 200 kilograms of Lynxy meat. 404-year soul ring, can be stored permanently, can gift. Lynxy inner armor, can resist all attacks from Soul Master, and below Lynxy heavy armor, can withstand soul sect level attacks. Lynxy essence meat, can enhance the strength of various functions of the body. If you eat more, you can even reach the level of copper skin. Iron bones, infinite strength. Seeing the item introduction given by the system, Tang Lin's heart could be described as shock and ecstasy. The soul ring in the box can be stored permanently, and what's even more incredible is that it can also be given as a gift. Damn, it's awesome. It also has inner armor, heavy armor, and animal meat. Lin, what are you giggling over there? Oh, no, it's nothing. Tang Lin responded quickly. In order not to make his father suspicious, Tang Lin directly took out the soul ring, and then a yellow soul ring immediately appeared on the head of the soul beast's body. Dad is here. You can absorb the soul ring with peace of mind. Okay, with Dad protecting me, there is nothing to worry about. Tang Lin sat down and circulated his soul power. The yellow spirit ring simultaneously shrank into a small circle of light and landed on the pan martial spirit in Tang Lin's hand. Sit cross-legged and guard your martial soul. After hearing his father's words, Tang Lin gradually closed his eyes and began to absorb the soul ring. Time passed minute by minute, and he had entered the state and slowly began to absorb the soul ring. But the strange thing is that there is no resentment in this soul ring. He clearly remembers the resentful little look that the giant spirit rhinoceros stared at him before he died. How could there be no resentment? After thinking about it, he knew that this should be systematic reason. This time he didn't have to worry at all, and continued to absorb the soul ring quietly. The limit of the first soul ring is more than 400 years. With his physical strength, it is indeed a bit difficult to absorb a 400-year-old soul beast. However, he still forced himself to endure it. Seeing his son's head covered in sweat, and frowning as he endured the pain, Tang Feng became a little worried. However, this was also the first normal performance of absorbing the soul ring, so he was not too worried. An hour passed. Tang Lin finally absorbed the soul ring, and the process went extremely smoothly. He could feel that if he hadn't exercised every day in the past few years, he probably wouldn't be able to absorb even the 300-year-old soul ring. Sure enough, if you put in the effort, you will be rewarded. In addition, the system helped him eliminate the resentment of the soul ring, so that this time absorption is smoother. The pan in his hand has become thicker, and the first level package of attached soul bones has also undergone a slight evolution. He has finally reached the realm of the Soul Master. Ding, congratulations to the host for reaching the realm of the Soul Master. Reward an eternal diamond level lottery opportunity. The system has been upgraded. Currently, all boxes within a 30-meter radius can be scanned for the host. It turns out that the system was upgraded based on my strength. It instantly expanded from 5 meters to 30 meters. Let's look at the attribute panel. Host, Tang Lin. Martial Spirit, Pan, Con 98. Soul Power, level 20. Fun skills, none. Box energy, 500 points. Backpack, Eternal Diamond Level Lottery x6, Lynxy Inner Armor x1, 200 kilograms of Lynxy Essence meat. Sure enough, he is now at level 20 soul power. How about letting dad help me hunt down a soul beast and directly advance to the Great Soul Master? Tang Lin thought about it, but shook his head in denial. Point. If you absorb another soul ring now, it will not be more than 500 years old at most. It is better to go back and improve your physical fitness and then absorb a soul ring of a higher age. Anyway, I now have 200 kilograms of spiritual rhinoceros meat, which should be able to strengthen it. Dad, I successfully absorbed the soul ring. So fast. Tang Feng was a little surprised. Normally, the first soul ring to be absorbed is from the year 400, which takes at least 2 or 3 hours. Unexpectedly, an hour has passed just now. My son absorbed it. Well, Lin, your soul power has actually reached level 20. When Tang Feng observed carefully, he found that Tang Lin's soul power had actually reached level, which shocked him. Is it true? Dad, Tang Lin exclaimed innocently and cutely, pretending to be surprised. Point. That expression really couldn't be more real. Well, that's right. It should be that by the time your martial soul awakened, your innate soul power had already reached level. Tang Feng thought of the scene when Tang Lin's martial soul awakened and immediately came to this conclusion, and then had a look on his face. He said seriously, Lin, you must not tell others about this matter from now on. Tang Feng has never heard of the 20 level innate soul power. I'm afraid that there is no second person in the entire Douluo continent who must not let others know about this, otherwise it will only do harm to your son but no good. Oh, I got it, Dad. Tang Lin replied obediently. Okay, let's go out. By the way, let me introduce your first soul skill. Chapter 16, the first soul skill of the Pan. Lin, although you have reached level 500 soul power now, your current physical fitness can only absorb the soul rings of soul beasts within 4 to 500 years at most. So don't rush to get the second soul ring now. First improve your physical fitness again, and then obtain a higher year soul ring. Are you not saying that according to the master's theory, even if the soul power reaches the bottleneck, it can be improved through practice? So there is no need for us to rush to obtain the third soul ring now. 2 soul rings. Dad, I think so too. Okay, let's go out. By the way, tell me about your first soul skill. The two of them left the Stardow forest while talking. My number 1 soul skill is called pan throwing. Tang Lin released the pan, then took the pan and threw it directly towards a big tree in front of him. Point. After the pan hit the tree, it made a deep scar on the tree, and then the pan disappeared. Point. At this time, another pan appeared in Tang Lin's hand, and he threw it towards the tree again. The pan in Tang Lin's hand seemed to be endless, and could be thrown towards the enemy. I can keep throwing out the pan in my hand to attack enemies within a 5-meter range. After the 5-meter range, the damage will be reduced sharply. The attack range will increase as my strength increases. Tang Feng nodded. You soul. The skill is an offensive soul skill. It is very powerful and can continue to output. The attack range can also be increased. Not bad, not bad. Tang Feng did not expect that the Pan Wuhan would have such a high attack power, and was quite surprised. Point. As the two of them talked, they arrived at a small town outside the forest. Point. In a restaurant in a small town. Dad, didn't you say that there are many powerful soul beasts in the Stardow forest, and it is an extremely dangerous place? Why do we come here? The little boy complained with a look of reluctance. Only the soul beasts here are the most powerful and complete. No matter how many of us there are, as long as we don't go deep, it's still fine on the outside. Don't worry, you and the housekeeper will live in the town. When the time comes, I'll help your brother and uncle find the soul rings they need, and then pick you up. A majestic man beside the little boy said in a deep voice. Point. If Tang Lin sees this little boy, he must have the impression that this is the kid who took the lead in bullying Liang Yi in the alleys of Notting City. Dad, he was the one who bullied me in Notting City at that time. By coincidence, the little boy suddenly saw Tang Lin coming in. He was already in a bad mood and immediately grabbed his father's hand and shouted loudly. Point. Tang Lin heard the sound and looked over. There were 6 or 7 adults at that table, as well as 2 children, and one of them looked at him very angrily. Point. Do you have a grudge against me or something? But it looks familiar. Who is it? Oops, I can't remember. The man rolled his eyes at the little kid. He knew that his little son liked to cause trouble among his peers. He also only his son leads others to bully others, so how can he be bullied by others? Moreover, this place is so far away from Notting City, and they also stopped by to hunt soul beasts and obtain soul rings because they were passing by on some business. How could there be such a coincidence in the world that here he would meet someone from Notting City who bullied his son? So he didn't believe it at all. I just feel that my son is in a bad mood now, so I want to find someone to vent his anger on. Brother, if dad doesn't help me, let's go over and beat him together. The little boy was anxious and asked for help from his brother next to him, then pulled his brother towards Tang Lin. Waiter, hurry up and serve the wine. Tang Feng didn't notice this at all. He just found a place to continue. Two people happened to be next to them and wanted to beat Tang Lin. Their father didn't stop him, but spared him. Come over if interested. This little son is his darling, and he has no brains to support him, no matter what he wants to do. Now that he is in a bad mood, of course he can be bullied if he wants to. There are so many soul masters on their side who are confident, so how can they be afraid of a single-handed man like Tang Feng? Boy, my brother said that you bullied him in Notting City, the big boy asked angrily. Dad doesn't believe it, but this brother does after all. His brain is not very good, and he is not as clever as his younger brother. Tang Lin looked at his father and asked what he meant. Tang Feng glanced at the next table at this time. He thought that, since they were all from Notting City, they could have some exchanges, although he knew that his son could not bully others at will. There were still misunderstandings. After all, they were still children. But when he saw those people looking joking, he knew instantly. These people are obviously the kind of people who like to make trouble for nothing, and they also have problems educating their children. So he nodded directly to Tang Lin. Tang Lin was certain. He now remembered who this little brat was, so he pretended to be surprised and said, "Hey, aren't you the same guy last time? Hey, are you the guy who was scared to death by my words?" Tang Feng couldn't help laughing. The man at the next table frowned. Could it be that what his son said was true? The man in front of him was from Notting City, but he knew all the famous people in Notting City. Obviously this person was not among them, so there was nothing to worry about. Hearing Tang Lin's words, the child became even more angry. This was not a glorious thing. Brother, let's beat him together. The older brother looked at his father and saw that he didn't say anything. He obviously agreed, so he nodded and said, "Let's beat him together." With so many people from his own family here, who do they want to bully? No, so the two of them were so powerful that they didn't even care that Tang Lin's father was beside him. This is already a lawless shark dog, possessed of course. Fighting requires the use of martial arts, so the two people immediately released their martial souls, and they were still beast martial arts, the overlord among dogs. After the shark dog's martial soul possessed them, subtle changes occurred in their bodies. His hair turned grayish yellow, his ears were like those of a dog, and his teeth became as sharp as a shark. He put his hands on the ground and acted like a fierce dog pouncing on food. Those little eyes seemed to want to eat Tang Lin in one bite. Damn it, this martial arts show. Tang Lin almost died laughing. At the same time, he also released his martial soul, and a dazzling black pan suddenly appeared in the palm of his hand. Ha ha ha, it's the black pot for cooking. You have the nerve to release this kind of garbage weapon spirit. The two people laughed. Even the adults next to them laughed. The small restaurant was quite big. Many people couldn't help but laugh when they saw Tang Lin and the two children's martial arts while eating. The beast spirit was already stronger than the weapon spirit, and Tang Lin's spirit was a useless spirit like a pan. They shook their heads at that time. "I'll let you guys see how powerful my chicken eating tool is later." Tang Lin sneered in his heart. Next moment. Everyone stopped laughing at the same time and showed extremely surprised expressions. What did they see? At this time, they saw a gorgeous and dazzling yellow soul ring slowly appearing from Tang Lin's head and falling to the soul ring at his feet. Rhyming, extremely dazzling. A Guo Tao martial soul can be cultivated to become a soul master. Moreover, he is only 6 or 7 years old, and he actually has a soul ring or a century-old soul ring. The adults were shocked and wiped their eyes. They couldn't believe it. I believe that everyone in the tavern was also stunned. At the same time, Tang Lin said in a deep voice, the number one soul skill is to throw the blame away. Chapter 17 Notting City Circle Family. Regarding his first soul skill, Tang Lin was a little confused at first, but later he became relieved. His last moment of eating chicken in his previous life was when he threw a pan and killed the last enemy before eating the chicken. Now he is very satisfied with this first soul skill point. While the two were stunned, he took action directly. Now that it has been determined that the two are enemies, there is no reason to wait for them to react before taking action. Doesn't it mean that the lion needs to fight the rabbit with all his strength? The only way to win is to take them off guard. Tang Lin swung hard in the pan in his hand, flew towards the two of them instantly. Bang! In his younger brother's surprised eyes, his brother was knocked to the ground by a flying pan. Bang! Tang Lin threw the pot again, and the two of them fell down one after another, almost stunned. Using this soul skill did not require him to take risks in close combat with the enemy, so the two of them fell to the ground without even moving his body. Wow, Mom and Dad, it hurts. After the two people reacted, they started crying, holding their heads and crying, and ran towards the adult. Do you know how painful it is to cry now? Didn't you just say that this was a garbage and useless martial spirit? I haven't even exerted my strength yet, Tang Lin said with a smile. Tang Lin really didn't use much force. Tang Lin's purpose was just to teach the two naughty kids a lesson, and he didn't really want to seriously injure them. I didn't expect you to be a soul master at such a young age. How old are you? When he saw his two sons, they were beaten by Tang Lin's soul skill in an instant and their faces were swollen with tears. His face became extremely gloomy for a moment. He thought Tang Lin was at least 8, 9 or even 10 years old, just not taller, because he simply could not imagine that a 6-year-old child could actually have a century-old soul ring. And judging from the color of the soul ring, it must be about 300 to 400 years old. This year is almost equivalent to the age of their second soul ring. When Tang Lin didn't answer, he said in a deep voice, as a soul master, bullying the weak is not a glorious thing. Haven't your adults taught you this? He was saying that Tang Lin was an educated. He was also scolding Tang Feng, but Tang Feng and Tang Lin were both disdainful. His two sons were obviously older than Tang Lin, but when they came to bully Tang Lin just now, he didn't stop them. They themselves like to bully the weak, but they still look like angels of justice, saying righteously that bullying the weak is not a glorious thing. It was so ridiculous that Tang Lin was not angry and asked with a wicked smile, Uncle Silly Dog, I must have called him correctly, right? Your martial spirit is a circle, so you are the Silly Dog family. Several men, their brows suddenly furrowed. They couldn't stand Tang Lin's unscrupulous scolding. They couldn't help but clenched their fists and looked fiercely. I just want to ask you a question. If I don't bully the weak, how can I bully the strong like your two stupid sons? Tang Lin ignored their looks and instead spread his hands and asked with a puzzled look on his face. These words made the adults angry again, and they looked like they wanted to come up and beat Tang Lin to death. This is what Tang Lin wants. The reason why those two naughty children like to bully others at such a young age is because those adults have unshakable responsibilities. He wanted to use this to let his father educate these people and let them know that causing trouble and bullying the weak sometimes have to pay a price. The faces of these people are extremely gloomy now. Brother, I'm afraid that person is not easy to mess with, or forget it. Anyway, it was our fault first. Yes, brother, that kid is a soul master at a young age. I'm afraid the family behind him is not simple. HMPH, he is just one person in a group of cowards. We have several soul masters, and there is also a level 400 great soul master. I'm afraid where will he come from? Several tribesmen had different opinions and whispered in the man's ear. The man thought for a while and realized that the child's martial spirit was a pan, which should have mutated from the round bottom black pot martial spirit. Then his father's martial soul should be a round bottom black pot, and there doesn't seem to be any soul power fluctuations in his body. He is probably not a soul master, but a businessman or something. Thinking of this, it felt certain in its heart, and laughed and said, I didn't expect you to be so sharp-tongued at such a young age. Since your adults don't educate you, then I will educate you for him. Then he directly possessed the martial soul, and went to Tang Dynasty. Lin and the two came over, and the others stood up and prepared to take action together. If the situation went wrong, it's hard to say whether the nobles in Notting City have souls or saints. Even if they do, it's not because of their virtue. So Tang Lin wasn't worried about his father at all. Tang Feng was sitting, and when he saw the guy approaching, he slowly put down the cup in his hand, turned slightly to one side, and moved out of the way. Seeing that Tang Feng didn't even release his martial soul, the man immediately determined that Tang Feng was not a soul master, but just an ordinary person. So he smiled proudly. If you dare to insult my family, you will have nothing to eat today. The moment he finished speaking, an extremely painful expression appeared on his face, as if he had been struck by lightning. Boom. He was possessed by Wuhan, and used soul skills to rush towards Tang Feng, but he was kicked away by Tang Feng flanking Guyandan, and slammed into the wall of the tavern. Brother and dad were in disbelief. They quickly went over to help their eldest brother out of the wall, and then checked the injury. The two children cried even harder. They had never seen their father beaten before, and now they were extremely panicked. Those clan members secretly resented how the father and son had provoked such a evil start today. The silly dog family is indeed a silly dog. It seems that you, like your two silly sons, like to bully people who are stronger than you. It's amazing. It's not easy for you to survive until now. Tang Lin shook his head slightly. Facing Tang Lin's ridicule, they gritted their teeth, but did not dare to take any further action. From the beginning to the end, Tang Feng didn't even look at their eldest brother. He just moved and kicked their eldest brother until he lost his fighting ability. There was no thought of resistance in their hearts. Thank you, sir, for not killing me. The man gradually woke up, then half knelt on the ground, and said respectfully. He knew that he was still alive, only because the man in front of him didn't want to kill anyone in the tavern. Others did not dare to speak out. They now knew that the man in front of them was someone they could not afford to offend. After all, this man had not even used his martial spirit just now. Tang Feng ignored them. At this time, the food was slowly served. Lin, you have to remember, no matter where you are, don't cause trouble, otherwise their fate will be a lesson to others. But you can't be bullied at will, so you can only work hard to become stronger, so you won't be bullied at will. Do you understand? I know, Dad. Tang Lin knew clearly. If you don't have strength, you will be bullied by the disciples even in the sect. What's more, if Dad is not stronger than others today, they will be bullied. At this time, a slightly childish voice came. Who will pay for these things you broke? It was a 7 or 8-year-old boy, wearing the same grey clothes as the waiter, with a tree vine around his waist. A large khaki wine bottle hangs from the braided belt, which looks particularly conspicuous. I can't sleep in the middle of the night. Here's an update. Chapter 18. The Wuhan Palace is amazing. Tang Lin admired this boy's courage. Many people present were obediently eating their meals with their heads down, not daring to look over here. Unexpectedly, this boy was not afraid. Tang Feng took out 10 gold soul coins and put them on the table. He said in a low voice, "Are these enough?" As soon as the boy saw the money, he immediately moved over to cover the money on the table, then grabbed it and put it in his eyes. He counted them as if they were naked. Enough, enough. As he turned around, a small hand had already quietly put a few gold soul coins into the wine gourd at his waist, with extremely skillful movements. This guy is a bit interesting. Tang Lin was very observant and saw everything. He didn't say anything. He just smiled in his heart. 10 gold soul coins are probably worth the income of this tavern for several days. This kid actually swallowed a few gold soul coins. Looking at his skillful movements, he is not a novice at all. Tang Lin is so good at a young age. Looking at the wine flask on his waist, I'm afraid it contains a lot of money, and probably also a lot of wine. Otherwise it would have been exposed if the money inside jingled as he walked. Tang Lin found this kid more and more interesting. How could an ordinary child have such thoughts? After the little boy finished everything, he took the remaining few gold coins and ran towards the counter and gave the money to the boss of the counter in a well-behaved manner. Those people from Notting City next to them left the tavern in despair. How could they have the dignity to stay here to eat? Of course they fled. Dad, 10 gold soul coins are too many, Tang Lin whispered. Although Dad is a rich man, there is no need to waste it like this. Give him 10 gold soul coins, and he can take 0 meter noting food. to eat delicious meatballs for several weeks. When you are away from home, money is just an external possession. We have affected the business here, and we don't know their background, so it is best to satisfy people. Tang Feng didn't care. A few gold soul coins were nothing in his eyes. It's not about money. When you're away from home, one more thing is worse than one less thing, so there's no need to care about this little extraneous thing. Tang Lin can also understand what his father means. Just like the tavern opened by his mother, although there are ordinary people inside, if a soul master dares to come and destroy the tavern, Dad, the soul saint, will take revenge. Tang Lin learned it again. Don't just take everything at face value. Going out to experience can make people grow. Counter seeing this boy running over to ask for compensation from Tang Feng, the boss was so frightened that he broke out in a cold sweat. He was not worried about this boy, but worried that if Tang Feng got upset and smashed up his store, it would really be over. But what I didn't expect was that this kid actually asked for it back. Fortunately, the person he met this time was a good person. Looking at the few gold soul coins handed to him by this boy, he reached out and took them over and said angrily, "You are lucky today, I tell you. You will probably hurt me if you are so reckless next time. You know, if you want to stay in the future, you have to be obedient to me. Okay, go and clean up the table over there." The little boy smiled and went to clean up the table obediently. I received these golden souls today. Coins were a lot of money to him, but he was very happy. System, are there any boxes around? Now the system can scan the boxes within 30 meters around, so he basically asked, as soon as he thought of it. No matter how much there is, lick it if you have it. It doesn't matter if you don't have it. Ding, the system starts scanning. Ding, there are 4 boxes 7 meters ahead on the left, 8 boxes 15 meters directly behind, and 6 boxes 25 meters directly ahead. Lick. Ding, lick the box successfully and get 4 boxes. Yes. Ding, you licked the box successfully and gained 8 points of box energy. After the system was upgraded, it became very comfortable. Tang Lin could now eat and lick the box at the same time. They were eating in the tavern, but they didn't know that earth-shaking changes had taken place outside. A large number of men in black poured into the town. Bang, the door of the tavern was smashed by someone's kick. A man in a black cloak burst in. "You adults, I don't know what you want to eat." The counter owner immediately ran over and bowed to flatter him. The man in black headed by Go was unreasonable and kicked the boss to the counter and then began to look around the tavern. All children under the age of 10 are left for investigation. The rest leave the tavern within 1 minute or they will be killed without mercy. The man in black said. The aura of these people was so ferocious that the people in the tavern were trembling with fear at this time. After hearing the words of the man in black, the tavern exploded. Some people ran out and some hid in the corner with their children in their arms. Tang Feng couldn't help but frown. These men in black were too overbearing and dared to do what they did here. I'm afraid there are only 3 types of people. The official people from Wuhan Palace, Chiandao Empire or Star Luo Empire are the only ones who can be so domineering. It is estimated that only people from Wuhan Palace, Haoshan sect already had a grudge against Wuhan Palace, and now he still has Tang Lin with him. So I feel that doing more is worse than doing less, so I continue to drink and eat. Tang Lin shivered when he saw the child with a hip flask hanging from his waist hiding under the table next to them. With no family or friends to protect him, I suddenly felt a little pitiful for him. You don't understand people, do you? The man in black saw that there were still many people in the tavern who were not moving, so he decided to take action on Tang Feng. He was very unhappy because Tang Feng was the closest to them and was still sitting there eating. "Of course I can understand human language, but are you speaking human language?" Tang Feng said. "Do you know who we are? I advise you to get out of here right away. Otherwise, you will regret it." The man in black said gloomily. Tang Feng was unhurried and didn't take them seriously at all, which made him a little afraid. He knew that Tang Feng should have some strength, so he didn't take action directly, but the forces behind them were very powerful, so he still had some confidence. "Behind you is the Wuhan Palace. Isn't the Wuhan Palace very impressive? I'm just sitting here eating my food. If you bother me again, I'll be killed without mercy." Tang Feng said forcefully. Tang Feng had decided not to care about their affairs, but if someone caused trouble, that would be another matter. He was not a person who was afraid of trouble. He would just kill him if he caused trouble. It's not like he hasn't killed anyone from Wuhan Palace in the past few years. The man in black saw that Tang Feng's words did not sound like he was joking, and he was extremely horrified. What kind of person is he? Even the Wuhan Palace, which can challenge the two great empires, is not afraid of him. Now he is in a dilemma, and suddenly he feels a little helpless. Sir, we have to do business first. We'll deal with him later, when we have the chance. Fortunately, a minion next to him came over and whispered to him, HMPH, we have something important to do today, so let's let you go before we meet again next time. You will definitely be left with nothing to eat. The man in black could only endure it and threatened him for the sake of face. Catch all the children under the age of 10 here for examination. A group of people rushed over and snatched the children from their parents' arms. Tang Lin couldn't bear it and immediately asked, Dad, they are too lawless. Can't we just watch them and ignore them? Don't worry, they should just arrest these children and check them. Nothing will happen. After all, this is the territory of the Xiandao Empire, Tang Feng said. Dad, they are not good people at first glance. Can you keep that brother and don't let them take him away? Tang Lin said, pointing to the boy under the table next door. Tang Feng nodded. Since the kid was next to him and his son had spoken, what if he just saved him? It happened that those people didn't even get a break for the kid. Although those people may not do anything to these children, but being caught by them so roughly will probably have some shadow in their hearts from now on. Tang Feng moved his mouth and transmitted the message directly. Chapter 19 Wang Xiaoshu, Vine Good. The boy timidly came to Tang Feng's side. Tang Lin nodded to the boy and reassured him. After all, his father just sent a message and the men in black didn't notice at all. Not long after, the inside of the tavern was in a state of mourning and a mess. The man in black glanced at Tang Feng hatefully, but Tang Feng still sat there unmoved by the outside world, minding his own food. That kind of self-confidence was the self-confidence of a strong man. He felt that in Tang Feng's eyes, he was just an ant. If Tang Feng hadn't been concerned about the power behind him, he might have been dealt with when he made rude remarks just now. This makes him dare not do anything more now. Okay, let's release all your martial arts spirits first and let us check Hei soil. Tang Lin was eating and observing. They began to check the martial arts spirits of the children one by one, obviously looking for someone. But they soon became disappointed, as they probably hadn't found it yet. But they didn't plan to let those children go yet. Okay, take them all to the square, the man in black said to his men, but the crying at the scene really bored him, so he said to the children and their families, don't worry, we won't. It will hurt you, but we can't let you go now. As long as you obey and don't make trouble, you will be able to go home soon. In the square. Many men in black brought many children from various places and gathered here. The leader of the man in black was not wearing the Wuhandian costume. He only had a black sword tattooed on his chest. His costume was more conspicuous than everyone else. It should be their current head. Tang Feng took Tang Lin and the child to hide on the roof and watch them from a distance. Since he thought this was something related to Wuhan Palace, of course he wanted to see what was going on. Sir, we have searched almost everywhere we can, but we haven't found that person. Almost all the children under the age of 10 in the town are here, and we have checked them a second time, but we haven't found the child we are looking for. The man in black at the head was sitting in the middle with a solemn expression on his brows, and several of his subordinates next to him were reporting things to him one after another. Keep going to the city to look for me. Yes, sir. Time passed by, and his men came to report one by one, but to no avail. He continued to send more manpower there, as if he would never give up if he couldn't find him. Sir, this is so close to the Stardao forest. Could it be that they heard the wind and ran into the forest to hide? Impossible. The Stardao forest is too dangerous. Even if we catch them, they won't go there. Besides, there are our people guarding the outside of the town. Sir, these children and their parents are crying. How about we let them go back first? Letting them back will only make our search more difficult. Are you a fool? The leader said angrily. But they are too. The square was full of cries, shouts and angry voices. Their heads were about to explode when they heard it. It was really uncomfortable. Kill one to serve as a warning to others, the leader said with a fierce look on his face. Point on the roof. What's your name? Tang Lin asked. My name is Wang Shu. Who are you? The owner of the tavern, and your parents. Why aren't they with you? Tang Lin said again. Point he had already seen it just now. Of all the children, only Wang Shu had no parental protection. Point the shopkeeper didn't care about him, which showed that the shopkeeper was not his relative. Point. When Wang Shu heard this, his face was suddenly full of sadness. Mom and dad are dead. I can only eat here. To help the shopkeeper clear the dishes and wipe the tables, Tang Lin sighed helplessly. Bang! Under the square, a man in black kicked a child who was crying loudly and flew out. He fell motionless on the ground and did not know whether he was alive or dead. If you continue to cry, he will be your fate. The man in black shouted. Point as expected. Many people on the field began to sob and slowly became quiet. If they dare to do something like this here, they must have obtained the permission of Wuhan Palace. Has Wuhan Palace started to ignore the empire now? Tang Feng sighed in his heart. Point. Since the new pope ascended the throne, Wuhan Dianben has become more and more arrogant and domineering. Point in the past 2 years of running around, he has already felt that Wuhan Palace has slowly undergone qualitative changes. Uncle, can I follow you in the future? I can wash dishes and wash clothes, and I don't eat much. I'm a wine gourd. There is money in it. Wang Shu said to Tang Feng in a panic at this time, somewhat incoherently. Those men in black are not looking for you, are they? Tang Feng looked at him and felt that he seemed to be very scared. Logically speaking, this guy should be a brave man. Just now he confidently asked him for compensation, but since after these men in black appeared, he acted panicked. No, 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 they are not here to find me. I have never seen them before. Wang Shu quickly denied. Point. Tang Feng shook his head and smiled. His answer undoubtedly clarified some problems, but he didn't expect that these people were really here to find him. Point. It seems that I have seen these men in black before, which is a bit interesting. Could it be that there is some secret about them? If you want to follow us, then tell your uncle the truth about why they want to arrest you. Looking at Tang Feng's eyes, Wang Shu didn't know why he didn't dare to hide it anymore, so he shook his head and said, I only know that my parents were killed by bad guys wearing those black clothes. My uncle also died after he took me to escape here. There are 2 uncles here. It should be difficult for them to trace the border here. I didn't expect them to find it here. Uncle, will you hand me over? Wang Shu looked worried. Don't worry, I won't hand you over. Tang Feng smiled. He was naturally happy to destroy the Wuhan Palace. Point. Moreover, Wang Shu is a well-behaved and clever person, and he is not an ordinary child. Point. Since they had saved him, and he had nowhere to go, he could just stay and be Tang Lin's playmate. Point. After all, Tang Lin has grown up and has almost no other playmates besides me, so even if he is selfish, he will not let Wang Shu be arrested by Wuhan Palace. Okay, let's get out of here quickly. After knowing that this group of people might be looking for Wang Shu, Tang Feng took them directly out of the town. Point. Zeng in the hotel. Shu, are you also a soul master? Tang Lin said. Yes, I'm also a soul master. I already have a soul ring. Wang Shu said with a smile. The tree should have level 20 soul power now. Tang Feng smiled and said he could tell it at a glance before. Point. Tang Lin was secretly surprised. Point. Wang Shu was less than 8 years old and had level 626 soul power. He was a cultivator. What is your martial soul? Can you show us? Tang Lin immediately asked out of curiosity. My martial spirit is a mutated martial spirit called Kyan Tenggurd. Wang Shu extended his hand and released the martial spirit. Point. His martial spirit is a gourd-shaped martial spirit composed of green vines surrounding each other, which is very strange. Point. Although Tang Lin had read many books about martial arts, he had never seen this kind of martial spirit before, and he couldn't help but become curious. Shu, try not to show your martial arts in front of others in the future. Tang Feng said coldly. At this time, the gang of men in black checked the martial arts of all the children in order to find you, so they should not. I know your appearance, but I know your martial spirit. Wang Shu nodded. After experiencing so many things, his character was already different from that of ordinary children, so it was easy to understand. Tang Feng seemed to have thought of something again, and asked again, Shu, is your home in Yiking City in the Star Luo Empire? Yes. How did uncle know? Then you are a member of the Wang family in Yiking City. I just heard that the Wang family in Yiking City was destroyed, and the wine fairy Wang Yanglin was missing. My grandfather was captured by the bad guys. Wang Shu suddenly choked up. Oh, I didn't expect that, but don't worry, your grandpa will be fine. Tang Feng patted his back and comforted him. Only now did Tang Feng realize that no wonder he couldn't recognize those men in black as belonging to that powerful family. It turns out that they are not a force within the Dao Empire at all, but should be the minions of Wuhan Palace in the Star Luo Empire. Okay, you guys sleep in the same room tonight and have a good rest. From tomorrow on, I will take you to start practicing. After Tang Lin absorbed the first soul ring, his physical fitness had become stronger, and he was not willing to waste it. Every precious time, so I discussed with Tang Feng before letting him lead me to practice. Of course Tang Feng was happy that Tang Lin had this idea, so he planned to take him to practice starting from tomorrow. Shu, if you don't want to be caught by those bad guys again in the future, if you want to avenge your parents in the future, and want to find your grandfather and save him, you have to work hard to practice in the future, you know? Wang Shufu is good, if he can grow up, must be a strong man without a doubt. I understand, uncle. Thank you for taking me in. I will work hard and be obedient. Wang Shu said firmly. In the tavern, he just wanted to live an ordinary life from now on and live well. This was also his uncle's last advice to him. But now, he has a strong desire to become stronger, to become a powerful soul master, and then go to find his grandfather. If you are strong enough, you can take revenge for your parents in the room. Wang Shu gradually fell asleep, and he wanted to keep up his energy to face Ming's practice. Tang Lin, on the other hand, looked at his attribute panel. Host, Tang Lin. Soul power, level 6. Kung Fu skills, none. Box energy, 3 points. Backpack, Eternal Diamond Level Lottery X1, Linksy Inner Armor X, Linksy Heavy Armor X, 200 kilograms of Linksy Essence Meat. Try these 2 pieces of Linksy armor first. If you put it on, you can really resist even the attack of the Soul Lord Soul Sect. Then your subsequent cultivation will be safer, and you will really be able to do it in Notting City in the future. You can walk sideways. A thought. Linksy Inner Armor appears out of thin air. Chapter 20. Wearing Linksy Heavy Armor, a bright light suddenly appeared in the dark room. Although it was very small, it was very dazzling. The inner armor is like the skin of the armored giant rhinoceros, and is a light grey-black color, but it exudes a light yellow energy halo. It's just that Tang Lin was a little confused. Because this piece of Linksy inner armor was only as big as his 2 palms. It was a mini black cloth. Not even as big as Dareo's palm. How could someone put it on? He slowly touched it with both hands. The grey-black inner armor was very mysterious and very elastic, but this meant that it could be worn by people of all body types, so Tang Lin immediately put it on. This is no different from wearing clothes normally. As soon as I put it on, a warm energy emanated from the inner armor, and it had some kind of connection and fusion with the skin of the body. Gradually, the light disappeared, and the inner armor disappeared, disappearing directly into the surface of Tang Lin's skin. With a thought, the inner armor appeared again, just like an ordinary black dress. With another thought, the inner armor disappeared into the body again. He understood. Then, he took off the Linksy inner armor, and put it into his backpack, and took out the Linksy heavy armor. The initial size of this heavy armor was much larger than the inner armor, and was as big as Tang Lin's body. The same grey-black one is more elastic than inner armor. After putting it on, he immediately made contact with the heavy armor. The Linksy heavy armor gave him a big surprise, and touched his body. Tang Lin now has a feeling that, even if he falls from a building tens of meters high, he will not be injured at all. No wonder this heavy armor can withstand even the attacks of the Soul Sect. Moreover, this heavy armor not only has extremely strong defense, it can also withstand the attacks of the Soul Sect. In attack, you can also change the weight of the heavy armor according to the thoughts of the person wearing it. This is what surprised Tang Lin the most. With a thought, Tang Lin's heavy armor increased by 20 kilograms, and with another movement, it gained another weight point in the end. Tang Lin felt as if hundreds of kilograms of boulders were pressing down on his body, making him unable to move. He played for a long time before giving up. Very happy. This is not only a defensive treasure armor, but also a secret treasure that can assist in cultivation. He decided to wear this heavy armor from now on. As for the 3 inner armors in the backpack, he will keep them for now. If they are not used, when the time comes, even if you sell it, you can still get a certain price point the next morning. Tang Feng took the 2 of them out of the city. Wang Shu has now changed into a set of clean clothes. No longer the same clothes in the tavern. But he still had the wine gourd hanging around his waist. His gourd was left to him by his father. It should be something passed down from his ancestors, so this is the thing he cherishes the most now. Okay, from now on, instead of taking a carriage, we will walk back to Notting City on foot. In order to get home early, we will not take the main road and instead walk through the dangerous forest and mountains, Tang Feng said. Okay, Tang Lin and Wang Shu have been prepared for a long time, and they will accept any training. Okay, from now on, you two will follow me. If anyone can't keep up, you'll have to worry about it. These forests are full of dangers. Seeing the 2 guys' high spirits, Tang Lin chuckled, and then he jumped off the official road and walked into the mountain forest. The speed seemed to be just a normal walking speed, but the 2 of them had to run to keep up. Tang Lin was very excited. In the past, my father only focused on doing his own thing. Even if I worked hard to exercise, my father would still ignore me. This was the first time that his father took him to practice, so he didn't want to disappoint him. Shoo, let's keep up. Okay. The mountain road was easy to walk at the beginning. They kept running and followed Tang Feng. Not too slow, not too tiring. Tang Lin didn't even use his soul power. After running about 2 kilometers, the road under their feet began to become increasingly difficult to walk. Tang Lin still didn't use his soul power. He used to run long distances for exercise before he awakened his martial soul, so he could still persist now. But Wang Shu couldn't bear it anymore. He was sweating and panting heavily. His soul power had been exhausted, and he couldn't hold on any longer. Only then did Tang Lin realize that his physical fitness was far superior to that of his peers. Shu, hold on. Tang Lin gave him an encouraging look and deliberately ran slower to wait for him. Wang Shu was a little helpless. He felt that his feet were as heavy as filled with lead, but Tang Lin seemed to have no feeling at all. He didn't expect that Tang Lin could run better than him. But he was also very strong, gritted his teeth, and followed. We can take a rest under the big tree in front. Just hang in there, Tang Feng said. When Wang Shu heard this, he had a goal and was instantly motivated. He let go of all his strength and started running. The mountain road became more and more rugged, and the scenery became better and better. Tang Lin ran leisurely and contentedly while enjoying the scenery. Not long after they finally came to the big tree, Wang Shu fell to the ground as if he was paralyzed. Tang Lin walked around as if nothing happened. Looking around. Tang Feng secretly nodded at Tang Lin's performance. Wang Shu had already collapsed from exhaustion when running with his soul power, but he didn't use his soul power, and he still had the energy to wander around without resting. This shows the excellence of his son. Little did he know that while shopping around, Tang Lin asked if there were any boxes around the system that he could lick. But Tang Lin also discovered it. If this continues, he will not be able to achieve the goal of cultivation at all. So he decided to run with weights on himself, starting with an increase of 10 to 20 pounds, and he couldn't use soul power yet. Only after he found a speed that allowed himself and Wang Shu to practice and consume at the same time. While Wang Shu was still resting, he thought silently in his heart, made the lynxy heavy armor on his body increase by about 10 kilograms, and started running around the big tree. Get up and try to get used to the gravity. After running for a while and increasing the weight to 15 kilograms, he felt that it should be fine. Maintaining this weight and running with Wang Shu without using soul power should be able to achieve the effect of cultivation. Tang Lin, aren't you tired? Wang Shu said. Of course I will be tired, but I started to exercise when I was 2 years old. I ran and ran on mountain roads, so my physical fitness is better than yours. I started training you when I was 2 years old. You are really good. Wang Shu was directly Tang Lin was shocked. When he was 2 years old, he was still playing in the mud with his pants bare. Let's practice hard together, and you will gradually become stronger. Tang Lin chuckled. Have a good rest, to restore your soul and physical strength. Tang Feng said coldly, while sitting under the big tree. Tang Lin stuck out his tongue, not interrupting his recovery with words, and sat down like his father, meditating and cultivating his soul power. The two of them just sat there waiting for him to recover. Wang Shu felt as if he had become a dragster, with a sad look on his face, and secretly decided in his heart that he would have to work harder, to study for a long time. Tang Feng stood up and said, let's keep going. The two of them followed Tang Feng and ran towards the mountain peak ahead. The mountain road is not easy to walk and can easily distract people. Tang Lin only has a body of 6 years old, but there are 15 kilograms of weight on his body, and he still restrains himself from using his soul power, so he started to pant not long after running, and like Wang Shu, both of them were sweating profusely. But he was happy. Because only then can the purpose of cultivation be achieved. Chapter 21 The first soul skill of Vine Good. There are all kinds of dangers everywhere in the mountains. Maybe if you accidentally touch some vegetation, you may be poisoned or injured. Along the way, while resting and recovering their physical strength and soul, Tang Feng would teach them a lot about safety knowledge and some survival skills. Gradually, they also learned a lot. Suddenly, there's something strange ahead. Dad, there seems to be someone in front. Tang Lin was very observant. There are 2 people, but neither of them are soul masters. They must be in trouble. Let's go over and have a look. Tang Feng had also discovered it a long time ago. Mountains and forests ahead. 2 hunters in their 30s or 300s, holding sharp weapons in their hands and carrying bows and arrows on their backs, leaned against each other nervously, back to back. There were 4 large black wild boars surrounding them, staring at them with eager saliva, their pointed tusks dripping with thirsty saliva, and their hooves digging into the ground, as if they were about to rush over and crush them to death. Why are we so unlucky today? We turned out to be 4 ivory pigs. It's over. It's over. I'm afraid I have to explain it here. The tiger girl from the next village just told me that she likes me. I don't want to die yet. Mommy. Tang Lin and the other 2 people have quietly arrived nearby. Lin Shu, our dinner tonight depends on you too. Tang Feng's eyes lit up when he saw those fat pigs. The 4 wild boars were not worth his while, and he could just give them to Tang Lin. It happened that the food they had prepared before was finished, and this wild boar just arrived at their door. Tang Lin nodded and thought for a while. It would be easy to kill a few wild boars, but to save these 2 people, he must control or kill several wild boars at the same time. Otherwise, even if a wild boar rushes towards the 2 people, he can still kill them. Shu, can you control those 4 wild boars at the same time? It doesn't take long. It only takes a moment. You can leave the rest to me. Wang Shu thought for a while. It should be possible. Wang Shu thought with Tang Lin is the same. He had seen the power of Tang Lin's first soul skill in the tavern. It would not be a problem to deal with a few wild boars. As long as he controlled 4 wild boars at the same time, the 2 hunters would be fine. Tang Lin also knew the function of Wang Shu's first soul skill, but he had never seen him use it in actual combat, so he still asked. After a brief exchange, the 2 went out directly. 2 hunters were staring nervously at the 4 wild boars, but suddenly, one hunter saw 2 kids running toward them. Brother, I read that right. Why are there things over there? 2 children are running towards us. Hey, it's really bad. Which village are these stupid children? Why are they here? Friend, don't come here. It's dangerous here. The 2 of them were dumbfounded. Didn't you see a few big black wild boars around? They kept running over here. Tang Lin and the other 2 ignored them and quickly ran to the vicinity of the wild boars. Only then did the wild boars look at the 2 of them people. Tang Lin immediately reminded. The first soul skill, ivy binding. Wang Shu immediately used his first soul skill. I saw many green vines sprouting from the ground, quickly binding the feet of 4 wild boars at the same time. The wild boar fell to the ground instantly, and more vines invaded and entangled them. They tried hard to break free, but found that it would not be possible to break free in a short time. His first soul ring was obtained by hunting a 100-year-old king iron vine. His first soul skill, king iron binding, possesses powerful control and binding capabilities. Both its strength and toughness are extremely impressive. Tang Lin grinned and rushed over, picked up the pan, jumped into the air, aimed at the pig's head, and swung it hard. Under the influence of his first soul skill, pan shaking, he swung the pan wildly and smashed several pans at each wild boar. There was a sudden scream of pigs in the woods. The two hunters were stunned. They did not expect that these two children were actually soul masters, and they could be so powerful at their age. How had they ever seen such a powerful kid? This directly refreshed their understanding of child's cognition. Wang Shu was also surprised and murmured in his heart, "Is Tang Lin so powerful?" In fact, Tang Lin was even more surprised by Wang Shu's first soul skill. He didn't expect that he could control multiple targets at the same time, and the the binding ability is also extremely strong. Shu, your martial spirit is really suitable for developing in the direction of the control system. With your intelligence, if you take this path, you will definitely become a very powerful and excellent control system soul master in the future," Tang Lin said excitedly. When they were in the tavern, Wang Shu was at the table next to them. At that time, he just wanted his father to save him. Now he felt that he had done the right thing. Wang Shu blushed instantly and looked a little embarrassed when he was praised. This made Tang Feng clasp his fists and look on with laughter. He was absolutely satisfied with the perfect coordination and brains of these two boys. Thank you to the two distinguished soul masters for saving our lives. We have nothing to repay. You two uncles, you're welcome. We happened to be passing by, and we just did it casually," Wang Shu said with a smile. "We'll take one of these 4 wild boars, and you can take the other 3 home." Tang Lin also smiled. The two farmers kept thanking him. Even if they wanted to, they didn't dare to go against the soul master's wishes. A few wild boars are nothing to a soul master, but to them hunters, they can feed their entire family for several months. If you sell it, you can make more money. Tang Lin and Wang Shu comfortably pulled the tail of a wild boar and left directly. Night. Tang Feng had already lit a bonfire under a large leafy banyan tree by the stream. The wild boar has been repaired. There are more than wild boars that are almost kilograms. They can't finish them all in Notting City. Dad, let me do it. Tang Lin knew that his father couldn't do anything, so he spoke directly. Then he took out his own pan. Tang Feng naturally did not object, but looked forward to it. Before Tang Lin awakened his martial soul, he was already very good at cooking. Now that I have awakened to the pan, I'm afraid that the meals will only be more delicious. Martial spirits can assist people in their daily lives. For example, if his martial spirit is Heo Hammer, he is better at blacksmithing than others, and he is even more comfortable learning blacksmithing. Another example is Li Rao's Wuhan round-bottomed pot. Even though she doesn't have Wuhan power and cannot become a soul master, she is better at cooking than most people. This is a truth. Under the control of his mind, the frying pan in Tang Lin's hand has become larger than usual, and the head of the pot is deep enough. There is wild boar meat, wild vegetables and mushrooms that Dad found from the mountains, and most importantly, there is also the hot pot base that was drawn by lottery in his space backpack. Tonight's meal is destined to be an extremely delicious meal. An unforgettable meal. After the water boils, a few bones and chopped ribs are put in, and then the hot pot base ingredients, wild vegetables and mushrooms are added quickly, and the aroma gradually becomes richer. Wang Shu fell asleep next to the bonfire because he was too tired, and Tang Feng, who was lying on the tree, was also resting with his eyes closed. A gust of wind blew by, and when the fragrance spread, the two of them sniffed at the same time and then opened their eyes. Tang Feng jumped down from the tree. "Dad, tree, it's ready to eat. If you want to eat wild boar, just use a knife to cut the wild boar into slices, put it in a pot and rinse it before eating. But I suggest we finish the bones and ribs in the pot first." Tang Feng and Wang Shu were already salivating. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 Space Soul Guidance Device. To be honest, Wang Shu couldn't wait to see this pot of wild boar meat. The price of pork has increased recently, Unfortunately, he hasn't eaten pork for a long time. This is so delicious. Wang Shu only took one bite, and his eyes suddenly lit up. This pot made by Tang Lin was definitely his. The most delicious pork I have ever eaten in my life. Well, not bad, Lin. The soup you made is good, and the mushrooms and wild vegetables are so delicious. The boiled wild boar slices are also very delicious when eaten like this. My son is amazing. Tang Lin's talent for cooking was fully revealed. They ate this meal for more than 3 days and ate an unknown number of kilograms of wild boar. In short, they ate very comfortably. Tang Lin and Wang Shu did not realize that they had eaten a large amount of wild boar without knowing it. Only Tang Feng noticed. Logically speaking, one person cannot eat so much meat, but now each of the three of them has eaten a lot. Tang Feng felt that this should be the reason for Tang Lin's Wuhan pan, because he found that the food cooked in the pan could be quickly digested and converted into various energies for their bodies after eating. If I guessed correctly, the fatigue on these two boys and the soreness in their limbs have gradually disappeared. Tang Feng felt the slight energy fluctuations in his body and thought in his mind, my son's pan, it is indeed a mutated martial spirit. It seems that we have to gradually increase the amount of training for them in the future. Dad, what should I do with this wild boar? A big wild boar cannot be carried back, but Dad let himself go with that wild boar. There must be a reason why two hunters brought a whole bird over. Let me do a trick for you. Tang Feng was in a good mood. He smiled and stretched out his 5 fingers towards the wild boar. Then the wild boar disappeared out of thin air with a whoosh. Wow, uncle is so awesome. Where are the pigs? Wang Shu rolled his eyes. Staring straight, he shouted happily. Dad has a space soul guide. Tang Lin didn't think this was a trick. If a rough guy like his dad knew this kind of thing, a sow could climb a tree. But he was also a little surprised. He had grown up and didn't even know how old he was. Dad actually has something like a space soul guide. Oh, I didn't expect that your son also knows something like a space soul guide. It seems that you have learned a lot. Tang Feng said. Tang Lin has indeed read many books about Douluo continent, including some official history books, unofficial histories, etc. He knew that a long time ago, there were many soul guides on the mainland, and there were many masters who could make soul guides, but for unknown reasons, these have now been relegated to the dust of history, and various soul guidance devices and soul guidance device production methods have gradually disappeared. Tang Lin was very interested in these, but because he was too weak, he could not find out more information. Perhaps only Wuhan Palace, the royal families of the two empires, and the major sects would know something. Dad, what does your space soul guide look like, and what is its capacity? Tang Lin nodded to his father's question, and then asked curiously. Even a fat pig weighing almost 24 kilograms can be housed, but the space capacity is definitely not high. Tang Feng rolled up his sleeves, and then an arm guard covered with black lines appeared on his left arm. Dad's soul guide is this arm guard. The arm guard has a large space, and it can accommodate several wild boars. Is it true that the capacity is so large? Dad, where did you get this arm guard? Tang Lin asked again. Dad got this from a secret and dangerous place when he was young. Tang Feng said. What was obtained in the secret realm seems to be that the space belt 24 bridges on a bright moon night given to Tang Xin by the master in the original work was also obtained from a certain secret realm. However, Dad's armband looks very unusual, and its space capacity is much larger than that of 25 bridges moonlight night. It's obviously at least one level higher than that belt. It is said that a long time ago, there were many soul guidance devices on the mainland, so why did they suddenly disappear later? Is it true that no one on the mainland can make soul guidance devices now? Tang Lin said. Haozang is the first sect. He should know something about why soul guides are gradually disappearing from the mainland. Will Dad also know something? These dads don't know either. But what is certain is that Douluo something did happen in the mainland a long time ago, but that was all a long time ago. No one in the mainland now probably knows what happened. Tang Lin nodded. This was expected. After all, it happened a long time ago, and I'm afraid even Wuhan Palace may not know. The one who followed us into that secret realm and dangerous place for adventure was the Grand Master. At that time, he was the weakest and only had the strength of a soul master. However, in order to seek opportunities to become stronger, he was willing to take the risk and enter the dangerous place with us. Although he was not a strong man, he was a person worthy of admiration. Tang Feng side point. Tang Lin didn't expect that his father would know the master. However, in the past, the three sects were considered to be of the same spirit, which is understandable point. When the master was young, he might have been ridiculed by his family, so he took risks to explore the secret realm in order to improve his strength point. However, the master no longer dwells on the issue of strength. The master has now made great achievements in martial arts theory point. The contribution and influence of the 10 core competences of Wuhan to the Soul Master world are far higher than those of title Douluo point. The sun was rising, and when the sunlight shone into the forest, Tang Feng and the others had already set off. Next, you have to run 6 miles before you can take a break. You have to run at least 40 or 50 miles. If you can't finish it in vain, you have to continue running at night. The good time passed one by one. Half a month later, the weight on Tang Lin's body became heavier and heavier, and now it weighed 3,000 kilograms. They were all exhausted from running, but fortunately there was plenty of wild boar meat for them to draw energy from. Point. The 2 young bodies have begun to show muscle outlines. Shoo, from tomorrow onwards, don't use your soul power to run away, Tang Feng said. Point. Every time Wang Shu uses his soul power to run, his soul power has been well polished in the past half month. Point. Now asking him not to use his soul power to run away would only be good for his cultivation. Oh, Wang Shu replied bitterly. Point. If he didn't use his soul power to run, then he would have collapsed from exhaustion after running 2 or 3,000 meters. How could he catch up with Tang Lin? Lin, starting from tomorrow, you can use your soul power to run, and you have to lead the way. If there is any danger, it will be dealt with by you alone, Tang Feng continued, and then took out a large iron plate from the arm guard space. This is 20 kilograms of fine iron. You can carry it on your back and run. Okay, Tang Lin replied calmly. Point. When Wang Shu heard this, he was instantly stunned. Point. Emotion. Tang Lin has never used his soul power to run against him from the beginning. He is so perverted. There is also a 20-pound iron king tree. Just thinking about this makes his scalp numb. Point. Looking at Tang Lin was like looking at a monster. Tang Lin chuckled, thinking it was nothing. Point. With the 25 kilograms of iron plate and the kilograms behind him, he could definitely hold it up if he used his soul power. The hardest thing is that there is no dad to lead the way. Point. In the past, my father was leading the way, and if he encountered any beasts or soul beasts, he could scare them away by just releasing his pressure and not affect their cultivation at all. Point. Now he is making his own way, and without Wang Shu's control and help, he has to deal with danger by himself. This means that he has to maintain enough soul power and physical strength at all times, and he has to distract himself and alert the surroundings. It's definitely not as easy as you think. Chapter 23. The Flying Snake. Without the support of soul power, Wang Shu felt extremely difficult and could not catch up with Tang Lin in front of him. Point. Fortunately, Tang Lin deliberately slowed down his pace and didn't run very fast. Tang Feng was behind him again, otherwise he would have really fallen behind. Point. But even so, he still had to rest for more than half an hour every few kilometers he ran, otherwise he wouldn't be able to run at all. Point. Later, if he didn't use his soul power, he really couldn't run at all. Point. Tang Feng knew that this had to be done slowly, so he asked him to hold on and run without using soul power in the morning, and then he could use soul power in the afternoon. Point. In this way, we can also cooperate with Tang Lin, giving both of them room for improvement. Dad, there is a soul master ahead, Tang Lin said, running ahead with an iron plate on his back. When he saw the soul master flying in the air, he immediately stopped and said. Point. Being able to fly out of thin air can only be achieved by the strength of title Douluo. In addition, there are soul masters with flying beast spirits, such as Farland, the president of Shrek Academy. Point. The other one was a spirit bone with the ability to fly. Tang Lin took a closer look and found that the spirit master in the sky in the distance was a spirit master with a flying beast spirit and should not be a title Douluo. It's okay, let's continue on our way. Don't worry about others, Tang Feng said solemnly from behind. Point. After hearing his father's words, Tang Lin nodded with relief and continued running. Point. Since his father didn't ask him to change his path, it means that the soul master is not very powerful. Point. The flying soul master in the distance looked around carefully for a few times, frowned, and quickly landed on the ground. Next to him were several middle-aged soul masters wearing Wuhandian costumes. "How's it going?" the spirit master of Wuhan Palace asked. "No trace was found. It couldn't have escaped back to the Soul Beast Forest," said the flying soul master. "If it really escapes back to Chat, it will be extremely difficult to find it again," a soul master from Wuhan Palace lamented. "Let's keep looking." Tang Lin ran all the way and never found the soul master again, so he couldn't help but be curious. Night. It's time to eat and rest again. Tang Lin opened the package on his body and took out the ingredients. These were all drawn from the system lottery. He and Tang Feng bought them in Notting City. Tang Feng didn't care about these things. Anyway, there was delicious food on campus. Tang Lin also started to eat wild boar. There were more and more hot pots, steamed, braised, and various flavors. Now, he decided to grill them. Tang Feng Wangshu also rubbed his hands in anticipation. After Tang Lin put zero oil in the pan, he directly put pieces of wild boar meat into the pan. Zzzz. The pot immediately made a sizzling sound of frying. Tang Lin used chopsticks to flip the meat slices in the pot, adding a little seasoning from time to time, and the aroma soon spread. When it's cooked, just pick it up and eat it. The taste is different from the taste when eating hot pot. If you want it spicy, just add some spicy ingredients. If you want it spicy, add some spicy ingredients. In the end, the three of them ate with mouths as red as monkey butts. Same, but very comfortable. One by one, they lay on the ground and caressed their round and swollen bellies with endless aftertaste. The energy consumed was replenished, and they felt as if they were resurrected with full blood, and the pain in their legs and arms was slowly disappearing. Sissy. Suddenly, a harsh sound came. Tang Lin opened his eyes and was startled. He saw a huge snake appearing in front of him, spitting out a snake letter in midair and staring at him. Tang Lin immediately looked towards his father. Just as he was about to ask for help, he saw his father looking at him with a smirk on his face. He was still picking at his teeth. Damn it. If his life was not in danger, his father would not take action. Wangshu, no, my dad has done it before. Tang Lin didn't think too much. He jumped up and struck decisively, using his first soul skill to throw the pan away, and the pan crazily smashed towards the giant snake's head. But what disappointed him was that he operated as fiercely as a tiger. As a result, the giant snake swayed slightly from side to side and seemed to easily avoid his pan. Then the giant snake spit out snake letters, looking very proud. It seemed like she was still tempting him to continue attacking. Tang Lin understood this was not a simple snake, it was a spirit beast. With his understanding of spirit beasts, he couldn't tell what kind of spirit beast the smelly snake in front of him was. However, the weaknesses of common snake soul beasts are almost the same. Tang Lin's mind turned quickly, and he immediately changed the direction of attack and hit the giant snake 7 inches away. But he was disappointed again. This time the giant snake did not dodge left and right. It flew directly into the air, and Tang Lin's pan could no longer hit it. A snake actually flew up, which directly overturned Tang Lin's understanding of snakes. Even Tang Feng next to him showed curiosity. "So you are here." In the air, a soul master with 4 bright yellow, purple, and purple soul rings flew over quickly. He was clearly a soul sect. At the same time, 4 or 5 people in neat clothes rushed through the woods. The soul master, the giant snake, was startled and was about to fly away in the air. However, before it could move, the spirit master in the air directly hit it with a blow. The man seemed to know that Tang Lin and the others were here, so he deliberately knocked the giant snake down in another direction. Bang! The giant snake was knocked down with a single blow. The ground shook slightly with a loud bang. Thick dust rose nearby and the woods were crushed. Several soul masters took the opportunity to pounce directly on the giant snake and attack at the same time. The giant snake did not expect to encounter them. It was knocked down by a sneak attack and then besieged, so it was killed directly. Tang Lin was still thinking about why this giant snake could fly. There are many types of snakes: poisonous, fast, huge, or possessing multiple attributes, but it seems that those who can fly will have to find some more books to read when they go back. Obviously, they don't know enough about many soul beasts now. If you encounter a strange spirit beast and don't know how to deal with it, it will be difficult, and sometimes the cost may be your life. Only by reading more can we survive. Friend, thank you for attracting this cunning giant snake for us just now. The flying soul master flew over directly and said to Tang Feng, I didn't do anything. You may not know that this is a greedy snake. It probably showed up after smelling the smell of the ingredients you just cooked. We have looked for it for several times and still can't find it. Zhang, thank you very much. Then you should thank my son. He cooked the food. Tang Feng pointed at Tang Lin and said lazily, oh. The soul master then looked towards Tang Lin. He had just seen the scene of Tang Lin attacking the giant snake and knew that Tang Lin was a soul master, but he didn't expect that Tang Lin would become a soul master at such a young age and that he would attack the giant snake without fear. Now he was even more surprised. Such a kid could actually cook, and the delicious food he made could seduce the picky greedy snake. He could see that Tang Feng was not joking with him, so this was simply a joke. Unbelievable, thank you, friend. He smiled. It's okay, uncle. Why do you come here to hunt soul beasts? Tang Lin asked curiously. This is not the soul beast forest. Why would they team up and come here to hunt the soul beast? And it seems that they came here specifically for this snake. It seemed that this snake was also very special, which aroused Tang Lin's curiosity. Chapter 24, The Box of the Nine Soul Beast. We just came here for this big snake. The soul master smiled and said, this snake is not simple. It is said that it suddenly appeared in the mountains recently. After we learned that it can fly, we decided to come over and take a look. When the flying soul master explained to Tang Lin and the others, on the other side, several soul masters from the spirit hall had completely killed the soul beast. This should be a soul beast that has just passed 1,000 years, as can be seen from the faint purple soul ring on its corpse. Among the 6 soul masters, there was a boy of 17 or 18 years old who was sitting cross-legged on the ground absorbing the soul ring of the giant python, while the others were protecting the surroundings. I don't know if he can get a flying soul skill after absorbing this soul ring. Let's see who knows about this kind of thing. If we get it, then our efforts will not be in vain. If not, it is also fate. Only with the help of this flying soul master, Tang Lin and the other 3 found out. They were from the branch of the Wuhan Hall of Noyan City in the Fasno province, and this flying soul master was the soul master of Noyan City and was just invited here by them. Noyan City is a large city in Fasno province, not very far from Notting City. It seems that they are coming to Notting City soon. Tang Lin looked at his pink eyes and knew that in addition to his flying ability, this man's reconnaissance and exploration abilities should also be first rate, otherwise he would not have been invited by the people from Wuhan Palace. In the Soul Hall of Noyan City, there is a young man whose martial spirit is a snake. He has reached level 30 of soul power and needs to obtain a 3rd soul ring to advance to the soul master level. After hearing that there was a flying python here, they had an idea at that time. This is not the soul beast forest. You don't need to take any risks to hunt the giant python here. This is just one of them. Secondly, if they can acquire a flying soul skill by absorbing the soul ring of this soul beast, then they will make a lot of money. Third, even if you don't get it, it doesn't matter. His martial soul is originally a snake, and the soul ring obtained by hunting snake soul beasts will be extremely compatible with his martial soul. That's why they came here, to give it a try. Tang Lin thought thoughtfully. The snake must have a box. The box could cost thousands, but it was not the spirit beast he killed. Could there be anything in the box? Tang Lin decided to go up and take a look. As soon as they left, a quick glance revealed that the man had already absorbed the soul ring. Several soul masters came towards them together. Zhao Yu, thank you this time. As soon as the Wuhan Palace soul master came over, he directly raised his hands and thanked the flying soul master. It's just a little effort, no need to be polite. We also want to thank our friends who helped us lure out the giant python. Zhao Yu said with a smile. Several people from Wuhan Palace bowed their hands and thanked Tang Feng. Tang Feng didn't give them a good look. He had never been good to people from Wuhan Palace. Tang Lin responded with an awkward smile. The Wuhan Palace is not all the domineering people that dad knows. There are also many lovely people, such as Mathino, who often comes to eat and drink in their restaurant. Although he is a talkative person, He is an amiable old man, and he will not act like a soul master or a spirit master to ordinary people. The few people from Wuhan Palace in front of him did not have that condescending attitude. Instead, they thanked them sincerely. Tang Lin felt that there was no need to treat Beak as an enemy. Maybe it's because he doesn't have a sense of belonging to Heo Zhang, but his father has a strong sense of belonging, so no matter whether he's good or bad, he doesn't look good on others, as long as they are from Wuhan Palace. I wonder if you got the third soul skill you wanted? Zhao Yu asked. Flying soul skills are not so easy to obtain, but he also got a good soul skill, and finally his efforts were not in vain. The white-haired soul master headed by Wu Hundian said with a calm smile. Zhao Yu nodded. Flying soul skills are indeed difficult to obtain. Even if you hunt the powerful flying soul beasts in the soul beast forest, you may not be able to obtain them. So there is nothing to feel sorry for. Let's go back. Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much. We'll meet again by chance. Farewell. Judging from Tang Feng's attitude towards them, they knew that Tang Feng might be a powerful soul master, so they also politely thanked him. Leave. Tang Lin was delighted. Why are you talking so much when you have nothing to do? I'm not familiar with you. I've been waiting for your words for a long time. As soon as the people from Wuhan Palace left, Tang Lin smiled and said, Dad, I'm going to see that big snake. I'll go too, Wang Shu said. Seeing the big snake, Tang Lin was overjoyed and immediately asked in his mind, System, are there any boxes around? Ding, the system started scanning. Ding, there is one 10 meters in front of the host. Lick the box is successful. Congratulations to the host for getting 1024 points. Well, it's gone. Tang Lin suddenly felt a little disappointed. Lin, aren't you afraid? Wang Shu said timidly as he looked at the giant python corpse. He was frightened just now. It's already dead. What's there to be afraid of? Wang Shu nodded. The soul ring was absorbed. It was indeed dead. And when it was alive, Tang Lin didn't seem to be afraid of it. Thinking of this, he realized that he was not as courageous as Tang Lin. Tang Lin laughed. He was practicing in the forest and didn't lick any boxes along the way. So, when he saw the giant python for the first time, he already regarded it as a box. Although the giant python is scary, what's so scary about the box? When he came to the giant python, there was a purple fluorescent light next to the giant python's body. Tang Lin's heart moved, and he walked over directly. After putting his hand on the box, Tang Lin showed a happy smile. There are actually things on the inventory. It seems that the things in this box need to be licked by oneself. Cakes. Tang Lin directly pulled them into the backpack. Ding, congratulations to the host for getting 1 drop of pseudo dragon essence and blood, 100 katas of giant python meat, and 10 pieces of spiritual snake armor. Pseudo dragon essence and blood, the weak dragon essence and blood. If you eat it, you can gain the ability to fly, and your body, skin, and blood will be enhanced. It can also open the door to the dragon tomb. Giant python meat can strengthen the body and increase endurance, toughness, and speed characteristics. Spirit snake armor can resist the attack of the Soul King. Damn it, the box of the 1000-year soul beast. Is it so fragrant? Or is it because this giant snake is too special? It actually has a drop of pseudo dragon essence and blood. This snake must have gotten some bad opportunities. No wonder it can fly. It can open the cowhide system of the dragon tomb door. Where is the dragon tomb? The system did not answer, but it doesn't matter. This does not reduce its status in my mind at all. Maybe I can encounter the dragon tomb in the future. With my father protecting me, it doesn't matter whether I can fly or not. I have to keep this drop of essence and blood. Maybe I can give myself a big surprise in the future, such as animal meat. When I have time, I can find a good excuse and then take it out for everyone to eat, so that the whole family can become stronger together. 10 spirit snake armors can actually withstand the attack of the Soul King. Damn it, isn't the Lynxy Inarama useless? Shoo, let's go back. Tang Lin always felt that it was cold here and there were dangers everywhere in the forest. It was better to stay closer to his father. Safety. Wang Shu gently tapped the python's skin with his fingers. When Tang Lin yelled, he immediately retracted his hand. Tang Lin smiled. He was scared by this. It seemed that he was quite frightened by this giant python. Returning to the campfire, Tang Feng Wangshu gradually lay down to rest, and Tang Lin opened his attribute panel. Host, Tang Lin. Soul power, level 20. Kung Fu skills, none. Box energy, 1888 points. Backpack, Eternal Diamond level lottery x6, a drop of pseudo dragon essence and blood, Link's inner armor x3, 200 kilograms of spirit meat, spirit snake armor x10, and 100 kilograms of giant python meat. Box energy is enough for a 10-game silver draw. I'm so lucky tonight, why don't I draw it now? Chapter 25 Silver level lottery. Huh. Tang Lin took a deep breath. The silver 10 draws box can suddenly become 888 point. The lottery wheel has started spinning. Oh my god, let's make the surprises more intense. Ding, congratulations to the host for winning a 2000 Thunder Dragon Soul Ring, a copy of the 10 core competences of the Martial Soul, a Space Ring, and a Soul Master Experience card, a Soul Sect Experience card. Thunder Dragon is still a soul ring from 2000. Will it fly if I absorb it? He asked confusedly 3 times. The 10 core competences of Wuhan. Isn't this a book written by a master? You can buy it at all the stalls in Notting City. System, are you cheating on your father? Tang Lin knew, after going through the bronze level lottery draw, that the things that appeared in the prizes were very. There is a chance that I will get it next time. So this martial spirit's top 10 core competences really belong to the system's cheating behavior space ring, which is covered with silver white lines with a space of 40 cubic meters. It is quite large. Soul Master Experience card and Soul Sect Experience card. These 2 things are good. It is obvious that after using them, you can achieve the corresponding strength, and it can last for half an hour. This is a prop for me to pretend to be a pig and eat the tiger. Article of the general outline of Zhuanshan Baolu. Never try to pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger, otherwise it is easy to become a pig. Damn it, why did I suddenly think of Zhuanshan Baolu? The next day, a touch of fish belly white appeared in the east. In the grey forest, Tang Lin and others gradually woke up. Okay, from now on, you have to walk back to Notting City by yourself. Tang Feng stretched and said, Dad, you don't want to go with us? Tang Lin was shocked. Hearing his father's words, he said that he wanted us to go by ourselves. How is this possible? We are still children, and we don't even know this road. Okay mom, Dad is going to abandon your cute and handsome son. Come and save him. Woo woo woo. Yes, Daddy has something else to do, so he won't go with you. It's very close to Notting City, and there are many places along the way. There will be no more soul beasts. Don't worry. Dad, are you serious? Tang Lin was about to cry. Tang Feng ignored him, took out a map from his arms, and said, this is the map, you can understand it. He then took out a large piece of wild boar meat from the space of the arm guard, and said coldly, this is the second map. 10 pounds of wild boar is a limited amount of food, but there is a lot of money in the wine gourd of the little tree. If you run out of food, you can find your way out to the city to buy food, or you can hunt in the forest to satisfy your hunger. After last night, he already knew that facing Tang Lin, the 1000-year-old soul beast, is not afraid, so they can then let them perform on their own. If they reach Notting City safely, their relationship will definitely deepen, and their courage and knowledge will increase. After all, with themselves around, they are always confident and cannot really exercise their courage. Moreover, cultivation does require some relaxation. They are still young, and it would not be good for them to keep running like this. What if you meet a bad guy? Wang Xiaoshu said timidly. Tang Feng smiled. What kind of bad guy would attack you 2 little brats? Wang Xiaoshu, the human trafficker, was also well informed and replied immediately. Human trafficker, you 2 soul masters can't beat the human trafficker. Even if you can't beat the human trafficker, you can still outrun it. After practicing during this period, the speed and endurance of the 2 of them have made huge breakthroughs. When encountering ordinary people, if there are many people, they should run. Get by. What if that human trafficker is a soul master? Wang Xiaoshu clenched his fists, looking a little anxious, and retorted. A soul master can make money lying down. What kind of human trafficker will he be? Are you worried about being caught by those men in black? Tang Feng smiled. He still didn't know what this kid was afraid of. Wang Xiaoshu lowered his head immediately. Don't worry, even if you stand in front of them now, as long as you don't reveal your martial spirit, they probably won't recognize you. This is already Fasno province, so don't worry. Oh, again looking up, Tang Feng was gone. Tang Lin began to wonder whether his father had picked it up, or if he had bought something as a gift from someone else when he was doing business. Oh, it's so difficult for me. Fortunately, I have the spiritual snake armor, the spiritual rhinoceros heavy armor, and I still have to rely on myself for the soul sect experience card point. But we can't take it out for Wang Xiaoshu to wear now. Who knows if dad is secretly protecting us? If he sees it, he will ask me what my answer will be. Tang Lin doesn't believe that his dad will really leave them. Maybe dad is really. There is something they need to do, but after finishing the work, they will definitely come to protect them secretly. After all, they had managed to offend the black-clothed soul master in the small town outside the Stardow forest. Put yourself in my shoes. If you were a dad, you would also check to see if there is a tail or something on the back point. But no matter what, you have to walk back by yourself from now on. As for practicing, you have to arrange it yourself according to dad's wishes. It's really hard for me. Fortunately, Wang Xiaoshu is not a pig teammate. Xiaoshu, can you understand the map? Tang Lin opened the map and started chatting with him. I can't understand. Then can you write? You can only write my name. Then what can you do? Can you eat? Do you think there will be members of your family in this good of yours? What secret? Forget it. By the way, your grandfather is a wine wizard, so is the wine in your gourd the wine brewed by your grandfather? Tang Lin thought of this, and suddenly his eyes lit up. No, this is my own. My own. Tang Lin was confused for a moment. Wang Xiaoshu looked around vigilantly, then came to Tang Lin, quietly released his martial spirit on his chest, and then poured some wine from the martial spirit Kaian Teng gourd. Do you understand? Fuck cowhide. Tang Lin thought for a moment calmly. Could this wine also be another martial soul of his? If so, then he is not a twin martial soul. The two martial souls seem to be fused together. This is a natural fusion of martial souls. Can he use martial soul fusion skills by himself? Tang Lin suddenly felt that his brain capacity was not big enough. He asked directly, is this your second martial spirit? I don't know. It seems so. Forget it, whether it is or not. Don't tell others in the future, otherwise I'm afraid bad people will catch you again. Tang Lin warned with a smirk on his face. Wang Xiaoshu immediately put away his martial spirit. Tang Lin looked at the map, picked the route, put the wild boar meat on his back, and set off directly. 20 pounds of wild boar meat is indeed not enough to last for a long time, but you can hunt some game along the way, so there is no need to go to the city. Cultivation doesn't have to be so intense anymore. Although it was not high intensity for Tang Lin himself, it was different for Wang Xiaoshu, who needed to relax a bit. The days passed. No more soul beasts were encountered in the forest. We didn't meet any so-called bad guys either. We only met some lovely hunters and farmers. Tang Lin and the two had finished eating the wild boar meat, and Tang Lin's heavy armor had reached 50 pounds. He had regarded this 50 pounds as normal, and he gradually tried to support himself without using his soul power, but found that his body was still weak. It can be done. He was very satisfied. This was something he had never imagined before. Even now, an adult soul master would not be able to carry a 50-kilogram load across mountains and rivers without using soul power. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.